Welcome everyone to episode number 87 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co host, Dr. Games 101.
Hello, people. Happy holidays.
And, and we got a lot to get into, a lot of topics to discuss. So I suggest we get started.
Yeah, especially with the Twitch e-fuck girls going on for the last several days now with the policies and all. So more,
Yeah.
more to come to that later on tonight, guys.
Unless you want to do it now.
Really? You up for it?
Yeah, if you want to cover it now, we can.
Oh, sure. Well, obviously, it is open secret that Twitch has been not going down hill, but it's just that they have been like switching policies left and right for the sake of like bending the knee to the e girls from all the body painting and 3D artistry and stuff like that of the naked body of the woman. All well and good to go on some sites for that matter. Y'all have to bet your W, or you guys already know the matter. But yeah, my Twitch. When we think of Twitch TV, we think of like Justin TV and video games and such and such.
Yeah.
Like we think of like the gaming companies, like what's it called, the gaming companies like that of Destructoid, or that well they're more reviewers like Destructoid, IGN, OneUp.com, Gamer Rants, such and such. All these no name, well mentioned, and not popular reviewers, game reviewers, go on Twitch to play these games prior to the release of the game to promote, advertise, and to upgrade the game to the major audiences out there, or niche audiences, depending on what's their target audience. And it's like for the last from 2011 when it first started with the Twitch and all to like 2019, 2020 during the OnlyFans segment started, with on the other sites. That's when the girls started to take over Twitch and other atmospheres of groups on the internet of gaming. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the purpose of this? Just to get more attention from the guys? I mean, we already give enough girls enough attention through the other websites, and now they also dating and stuff like that, and as relationships. But that's starting to go stray because now all these girls are having a high body count and all, and it's like yes, it's a personal matter from guy to guy and all, but it's just that we already have enough attention we give to the girl as is. So it's kind of like we just want our own little space to play video games, and that's about it. And it just seems that these girls just keep invading more and more of the space and start to get more and more attention. And it's like you have to shape up, both the males and the females. And we can't just evade each other's spaces like there's no tomorrow, and then all of a sudden it turns to a shit show. Like we have to have a balance between like what's entertaining and what's relationships and what's dating. And if you want all the girls want all the attention, that's not how it works in the world, you know. So that's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, Twitch also, I get it. Twitch is a business, but at the same time, you're telling me that Amazon, who owns Twitch, can't find another way to make ends meet because this is only going to last for so long. Because before you do it, I'm not going to name any names just out of respect. But these women, by the time they hit 30, 35, 40, you got to hope that the new 20-year-olds and the new 25-year-olds want to do Twitch and want to do the same thing on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a short-sighted business plan that's like great for now, but what's it going to be like in 5 years? And don't forget, it wasn't long before Twitch would not where Twitch didn't want this kind of content.
Yeah.
Uh, heck, Impact Wrestling, when they had their streaming channel on Twitch before they left, uh, they actually got um, they actually got suspended for a week um, for suggestive content. Uh,
Hmm. Weird.
um, Rob Van Dam was in bed with two women, and
Oh.
like you didn't actually see anything happen, but like it was suggested that like you knew what was going on. And Impact Wrestling got in trouble for streaming that on Twitch. Now it's like you could do anything on Twitch, and I guess now they have no problem with it.
Yeah, it's all about sex these days. It was all well good. I mean, like sex sells to some extent, but how much can you put into the market? Like you can't overflow the market with all these like e-girl stuff like that because you still need relationships. You still need the woman to be in the man's life, and vice versa with the woman in the man's life. It's you can't just like try to commodify if you want to call like that. You cannot just put it into a dollar bill. That does get tiresome after a while for both males and females because we males we give money to these e girls, whatever, wherever you're thinking of, big or small. It's like it's more of like money instead of transactional. So they're about love and meaningful relationships after a while. So it's kind of like it's temporary. It's nothing fixture about that. The ultimate cure for any loneliness for both sexes is a proper, healthy relationship between a man and woman. Depends on who you pursue and how much you want to pursue that woman or girl or guy, or whatever, and take it from there. And vice versa with ladies. But I don't know what to say anymore. Like, it's getting to the point where it's like, it's going to turn into a shit show in the next 10, 20 years at the most.
Yeah, I mean, what is Twitch going to become the next OnlyFans? I mean,
Yeah, Twitch is meant for like gaming at first, so especially with Justin TV and all. That was gaming
yeah,
at first too. So we knew the shtick, or at least the boundaries as men. Yes, I admit that I put politics into Twitch stream back in like 20 what 14, 13, 12 with my original username, Doctor of Politics, whatever. But that was because of the fact that it was a new thing to me. I was still new to the market, new to the style and stuff like that. I was that involved with politics to the point where I was overcoming my life. So thinking about this becomes the sexual market values or sexual market really matters. It's too much after a while. So it's gotta balance out the policies. Gotta categorize what to what audience. So that's how it
and not
is.
to and not to mention, I do have to agree with War Corpse, aka Lord of Patriarchy, on YouTube. Um, I mean no disrespect, but take someone like Amarith, I think her name is.
Yeah,
She's a beautiful woman, but would you really want to marry someone who has this kind of profession?
and also I have that yeast infection. Not yeast infection, called the yeast making of the beer and stuff. Just doing next year. I don't know what she's doing with that, but it's something of that. Like,
Oh,
it's the it's
yeah,
it's degrading, catchy at the same time. It's like some guys will probably go for it who are desperate over Amaranth, but it just seems degrading in the long term. It's like, yeah, I can't go out with a girl like that. After a while.
right, right. I mean, like I said, maybe maybe one night, yeah, but I mean, could you imagine the headache if you were actually in a relationship with her?
The guys want to hug her and take pictures with her and stuff like that, and guys be like crawling their knees and ankles just to get to her feet and all. Like, Amber, take a picture with me, take a picture with me. It like paparazzi times 20. Worse than Britney.
Yeah.
So I mean, we all loved Britney Spears back in the day when she did those special dances on TV and music videos and all, like, "Oops, I did it again. I play with your heart." All that. It's sketchy. It was.
I don't. I okay. I have to say I don't know what's more disturbing, you singing or the fact that you knew more lines to "Oops, I Did It Again" than the actual title.
Let's just say that I've been around summer camp kids with the Disney all the time back in the 2000s. That's why.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know. Like, yeah, I know the song Britney Spears' "Oops, I Did It Again," but that's the extent of the song I know. Like, I don't know any of the other lyrics. You started singing the rest of the song.
I told you, summer camp was interesting back then. It was like all the kids knew about this shit. It's like whatever. I
Yeah, but
was
I
I
mean,
was the fat
look
kid in the
look
group, so I was like, whatever.
look at it from my perspective. A 36-year-old man singing Britney Spears' "Oops, I Did It Again."
Well, I did
I'll just
like
leave it
Britney
at
Spears.
that. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, Britney Spears was not that bad back then. I mean, she was a little bit crazy after a while, but like she was Britney. Like, we loved her. Or at least respected some of her music. You know.
Well, I was never a fan of her music, but and and I mean, she was a joke. She was really a joke by the time we graduated high school in 2005. Because I mean, she married Kevin Federline. That marriage lasted one weekend.
Yeah,
Um,
and then she shaved off her head. How many years later in the 2000s?
yeah, that was just her mental break, not being able to get away from the paparazzi. So I can understand that because how many times has Eminem rapped about wanting to get away from paparazzi and fans and not being able to?
Yeah, the way I am rap song. The way I am. It's in radio tune will play my
That
tune.
was
That
that was
am.
yeah.
Say what am.
Um, no, no, I was thinking of more recent songs like from his Encore. No, 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 Relapse
Okay.
CD. When he when the song is "Be Careful What You Wish For."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, we could probably play it since I'm not a partner on Twitch, but um,
Okay. It's up to you.
yeah, sure, why not? Have you ever heard of this song?
I have to listen to it first because the one, if you're referring to the one from the 2014 2015 album that came out with the other rappers, that was a horrible rap songs by Eminem.
That was yeah. I no. I actually I heard that he like when he teamed up with other Detroit rappers. I do have to say I think the other Detroit rappers stole the show. I just heard one song they did.
Okay.
I think it was "Welcome to Detroit." That
Hmm.
song's not bad, but it's like Eminem didn't have. It was like Eminem didn't have the best lines in that song. The other rappers that came for like the first 5 6 minutes did, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So I'll play it. I'll play the song "Be Careful What You Wish For." If you've heard it before, just let me know, and I'll just stop it.
Oh, I'm playing all through the Twitch podcast.
My business to the next level.
Can you hear
It's
it now,
simple.
or do I have to put it on Discord also?
No, it's okay. I got it. I can listen to it.
Okay. Can you hear it now, or do I have to put it on Discord also?
No, it's okay. I got it. I can listen to it.
Breaking news, Detroit rapper Eminem cancels his solo.
Cause you just might get it. And if you get it, then you just might not know what to do.
You never heard that one before?
Just come back on
This is the first time I listened to this. Yeah.
But have you heard that like before tonight or no?
I don't think so. No, this is something new to me. Yeah, this is a new track to me. I never heard of yet of Eminem.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, anyway, back to the point that we were making. You know, like just like Eminem said, fame to the point of imprisonment. You know, uh, that's kind of what Britney Spears was going through when she shaved her head. Just she had a mental break, and from her fame, and that's
Oh
why
yeah.
she shaved her head. Um, so yeah, that's the point we were making. But back to the Twitch thing. It's just as bad as OnlyFans if Twitch is going to go this route. And then you wonder what future relationship wise are these women going to have? You can't date. I mean, is it really going to? I mean, if the guys they want are not going to be their fans, if they date one of the people that are their fans and watch everything and buy every photo and such and so forth, they're not going to be happy with who they have.
Yeah.
And no one that's not their fans is not going to want them because they're going to be like, "Well, you used to do what?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
or you still do what as a job? I mean, that would be an interesting first date conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then what is Twitch going to do? I mean, you put all your eggs in this basket because remember, Twitch used to be when YouTube was really getting constricting with what game reviewers and let's players could do.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch was kind of like looked at like the free. Um, Twitch was looked at like, come over here. We're not gonna get, give you a copyright for playing video games. We're not gonna give you a copyright um, if you want to play uh, New Super Mario Brothers U all the way through on stream. And that's why, and people started to come over. Now it's like,
Yeah,
I
Twitch
mean,
Twitch used to be was a release from the valves, so the pipes and all from all this pressure by YouTube back in the early 2010s, late 2000s, and then since 2012 up until 2019, 2020, it's been a huge relief, a huge benefactor in seeing other gamers' content or gamers playing these contents of games, and then share the experience thereof and from low to high value to some type of users, whether they're small as like with 5 followers or big as like Drake and whoever that other YouTuber was at the time that did that stream of Fortnite how many years back. So
yeah. So that's the point we're making is to wrap this up. What's it? What I mean, I do understand when it's like what it's like 5 10. I mean, when Amarith, I'm gonna just bring her up again because she's the one person I know that does these kinds of streams. What's gonna happen when she's like when she eventually becomes 40 or 45?
Mm, yeah.
So, but if Twitch is gonna go that way, I guess game and also if Twitch goes this way, they better have a lot of people who want to do it and a lot of people who want to see it because the people that came for something else, they're just gonna go to Rumble or they're gonna go back to YouTube or they're going to go back to, or I mean, BitChute never got their live stream service up and running, but that might change in a few years. If um, so,
Even YouTube started to get back into sorting out their streaming services as well too in recent years. So that's a little promising for YouTube to go to get a comeback for that. Also, BitChute just started doing their live streaming not too long ago. So give it another 5 years at the most, it should be up to par with Twitch, and then that'd be a competitor right there to go up against, for Twitch.
yeah, so I mean, it's just it's for the short term. Obviously, it's working. I get it, but long term, I just don't see what the end game's going to be.
Yeah.
What are you going to be? You're going to be another other OnlyFans, or you're going to be another amateur porn um, website?
Oh yeah.
But I do promise, me and Dr. Games 101, as long as we do these streams, we're not going to be doing them without a shirt.
Yeah.
I trust no one. I know no one wants to see either of us without a shirt, so that's not one. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, sir. We're not Review Tech USA just yet. We haven't gotten that desperate. No offense, man. Although, if you get the ladies come after you like that, hey, more power to you. So that's more power to Review Tech. So
Yeah, yeah, but I'm still not taking off my shirt. And if I do take off my shirt, I'm not going on stream. So
likewise,
you don't have to worry about that from us.
yes.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on to the main show, guys. That was a good segment.
Okay. The first planned segment.
That's true, yeah.
From the Game Awards, check out the next game from the devs of Untitled Goose Game. Untitled Goose Game was one of the most viral indie games when it launched in 2019. It was simple and fun, overflowing with charm and personality. It seems like developer House House has some of that personality left in the rank because their new next game, Big Walk, looks incredibly intriguing. Check out the reveal trailer below. In Big Walk, you and your friends will explore an open world full of puzzles and things to discover. According to the Steam page, you'll need to figure out new ways to communicate when you suddenly find yourself speechless. This explains why in the trailer we see lots of attempts at communication, from waving arms to holding up certain images. The aforementioned Steam listing also says, sit and watch the sunset or steal your friend's binoculars and kick them into the ocean. It seems that much like Goose Game, there'll be plenty of time for shenanigans. You'll be able to check this out in 2025. So this is a PC exclusive so far. There's no plans to bring this to console. Did you hear about Big Walk coming out?
I never really heard this actual game or studio making this game before until tonight, or until this
Well,
week. We played ahead, of course.
Well, you never heard of Untitled Goose Game?
We did talk about it earlier this year, did we? At one point.
I think we did. But the thing is, I do know that title. I've heard that title. I don't know, and it's like, and the same studio that made this one is making this one. So
Maybe it's similar to the Goat Simulator in a sense. Trying to go up against the Goat Simulator because now Goat Simulator 3 is coming out this year or next year or so. Last time I checked. So
right, yeah. So I mean, if you like this, but the thing is, obviously this is going to be for people who play games on PC. Like I said, as far as I can tell, it's only coming out on PC. So yeah, so you're gonna have to be able to communicate without actually talking, and honestly, it just like Untitled Goose Game, it just sounds like a boring game, though. To be honest.
if it's similar to the Goat Simulator, then it's just not going to be as standoutish as as his competitor GOAT. So it's gonna be interesting to see how bad it's how good or bad it's gonna be. So
Yeah, yeah. But
not to mention,
if you're interested in this, this is coming out. Anything else to say, or ready to move on?
if it's coming out in 2025, oh man, that's a bad year right there because that's when GTA 6 comes out. So no matter what year, what part of the
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Release date 2025. No, but no month or date has been announced yet. Just the year.
it doesn't matter what time of year GTA 6 comes out. It can be as early as January 1st, 2025, or at December 31st, 2025. People are going to go pile onto that game very quickly once it's released. So once that happens, it's game over for other competitive releases on that same year. Depends on how big the game is, because if we're going to have another Call of Duty game, that's not going to be as well received after a while because of GTA 6 will take over shit. Because I'm willing to pay $100 for the not expansion pack, but the basic game, whatever the comes with it at first, the standard edition, shit like that. So
Okay. Well, yeah, this is coming out in 2025. We don't know how soon after or before Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. Maybe to just talk about Doctor Games 101 point. If say Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out in October of 2025, if like this game comes out like in April or May of 2025, um, I don't think it would be too. Grand Theft Auto 6 hasn't come out yet, so maybe this,
yeah, I mean, I see what you mean, Triple J. It's just that GTA 6 was anticipated for 10 years now by most players,
uh,
and yes, there's been like fraudulent advertisements and fake advertisements for years upon years by other users and fans of GTA 5 and all. But it is what it is, and people still want to wait another couple more years hence right now. So it's like, it's like most people today, like, games are getting expensive more than ever. Yes, they ask us $70 here,
yeah.
$130 for the legendary edition. Because I saw, was there one particular game I saw in the store earlier today asking like $120 for Call of Duty expansion? I'm like, whoa, that's a little too much right there. Because if you want to buy everything, like all the stuff, like
Well, I had
the
the.
map
That's
packs.
why I had the base game and probably had like all DLC with it.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. People can't just up and like buy a $70 game, a Goat Simulator 3, don't want to save that for GTA 6.
Right.
That's how I
Yeah.
was when I was younger. When I was working like my full time job at the furniture department store, it was Halo 3, Xbox 360, and the accessories, and that's about it for 2 if not 4 months after that. Meaning that whatever happens between 2 to 4 months after I buy the game system and everything else, Halo 3 is my go to game every day after work. So it's kind of like, I'm sure like there were some of the younger gamers like that too, where in today's world now it's not a $60 game, now it's a $70, $80 game depending upon what you're buying. So
Right. Yeah.
that's how I look
So
at it.
unfortunately, yeah. But if you're looking forward to this, it's coming out sometime in 2025.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Next. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is the next Budokai Tenkaichi game. Bandai Namco has revealed the title of the new Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game called Dragon Ball Sparking Zero during the Game Awards. The trailer sees Goku and Vegeta doing the one thing they know how to do: fight each other. The battle escalates to the pair powering up to Super Saiyan Blue, but we also got to look at Frieza and Broly, the new version of them. The game is the next entry in the long dormant Budokai Tenkaichi series and was announced back in March without an official title. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero doesn't have a release date, but it's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Have you ever played the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi games?
Oh man, I don't remember the Tenachiki games necessarily. I don't remember any gameplay of it. Maybe when I was like 17, 18 years old when the first one came out, I was at my friend's house, at my mom's friend's house during a Christmas party or some sort of a winter engagement, or whatever. And we played Tekken 5 and Okinami, whatever that game was called with the wolf and all. So basically, I don't remember that exact gameplay, but I hear over the years different Dragon Ball games like Kakarot, Budokai Tenkaichi, superheroes, and then dragons. Was it Dragon Ball Fighters? It's I played that one before. That was all right. I was pretty good at it with Android 18 at the time. But other than that, Tenetsukai, this newest one, or any of the entries, no, I can't remember. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I did want to talk about this game because I did play Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually quite interesting. I don't know how well if I'll. I think there's also a cartoon of Budokai Tenkaichi, if I'm not mistaken. Are you? Do you know if there's a cartoon also, or?
I don't remember that. No.
All right. Well, anyway, I played 3. The story mode was pretty interesting because it showed you the characters, it showed you like an interaction, like a dialogue, and then it showed you, and then you had to fight like in the whatever environment the characters were in. And it was actually quite interesting because, like, even if you didn't know even if you weren't familiar with the storylines or with who's against who, like in the cartoon or in the Dragon Ball Z universe, just generally, the game story mode would tell you all this. So it's like watch a cutscene explaining the fight, then play out the fight. You win the fight, you get another cutscene, and then it would lead to another fight, and then you had to win that fight. So I remember liking 3 a lot, but this was also like 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit more than 10 years ago. So if it's going to be like that, if it's going to be like the last Budokai Tenkaichi game, which I think was 3, then this one sounds like it'll be great for Dragon Ball fans. If you're not a fan of Dragon Ball, but they keep the story mode the same, I'd say give it a chance because you're not going to feel lost if you're not a fan of the Dragon Ball Z cartoon show.
Oh yeah.
If they keep the story, if they put as much care in the new game story as they did in the last one that I played.
Let's an update to the fucking what's it called, that version, that watered down version called Kakarot, or not Kakarot, it's called Dragon Ball Z something. You don't know what I'm talking about, the TV show from the 2000s or the early 2010s where they wore down and dumbed it down and also shortened the segments of the fights and all. Because the Frieza, if we're recording the Frieza versus Goku fight, that lasted for a good at least 30 episodes back on the original Dragon Ball Z anime. They reduced down to about 15 or 10, give or take, on the watered down version. I forgot someone called it Dragon Ball Kakarot or Dragon Ball something. I can't remember exactly, but it's definitely like a dumbed down version for sake of for newer fans in a sense. Yeah.
Right, because no one wants to see Dragon Ball cartoon or Dragon Ball game have cutscenes that are like the length of Metal Gear Solid 2 cutscenes.
Especially from 30 years ago, no one doesn't want to go that far back yet,
Right.
Because back 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, if I remember correctly, was the start of Dragon Ball Z. And then they had Dragon Ball Z a remake or a remaster, which that's all right. That's slightly better. But they start doing another version for for Warner Brothers Kids, or the CW11 for Kids show segment on Channel 11 for the basic TV users or the watchers, to say. So that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah. So and anyway, like we said, we don't know when this Dragon Ball Z game is coming out. But I hope it's just as good as 3 was, if not better.
Okay.
Ready to move on?
Okay. Let's move on.
All right. Next, Akumi Nakamura reveals her studio's first title, Kamuri. Former Tango Gameworks designer Akumi Nakamura stepped on the stage of the Game Awards to reveal the first game from her studio, Unseen, called Kamuri. A stylish trailer showed off the slick art direction with various cool street folks doing some parkour style running and jumping while brandishing weapons such as a katana. They also seem to be facing a slew of supernatural beings. Unfortunately, the cinematics didn't reveal much in terms of gameplay or details, but it's a cool first showing, if nothing else. Check it out for yourself below. We don't have any information, but what just based on the short description, what do you think of this? I mean, the parkour stuff is like jumping over fences um, or sliding down ladders or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of the game that came out last year, or a couple of years back, called Aerial Knights. I played
Yep.
about 5 minutes of it on my PC. Horrible. I have an outdated PC support. I can't even play that game at all. And it requires, and Aerial Knights only requires like a sample of like an Xbox One processor. That's about it. My PC doesn't have nothing like that. It was that old, so it's like I can't play that properly on my PC. But if I play on the Xbox, it should be a problem. They asked like it was on sale for about like not even like $5 on the
Well,
PC
also it
store.
was a game with gold, I think, if I'm not mistaken,
I see. Okay.
because that was Aerial Knights Never Yield. That was like where you had to keep running and you couldn't stop. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, this game sounds interesting. Wish there was a little more that they had given information on. Um, it's weird. It's weird. One thing I've noticed: whenever they like unveil new games, they really have like almost no information if it's about some of these games.
Really.
I mean, yeah, it's like you want to know what like this game is about. We don't know anything. We just basically know that it's going to have a cool art style and that it's going to be parkour. And that it's going to be have parkour moves. And that you're going to be facing supernatural beings, so you're not going to be killing humans with a katana.
Hmm.
Uh, it would it kill. I mean, I hate to say it. I think there should be like a certain threshold of information that's available before you unveil the game,
I
or
thought that's
before you
always,
give.
if I recall correctly, I think they've always been doing that, especially in magazine form, like Game Informer, GameSpot magazine if they have one, or even on Nintendo Power if it's still around. Like
Nintendo Powers, I think, called it quits.
oh shit! And it's just after all these decades too, right? So yeah.
And it's not something new. Nintendo Power's been done for years, but yeah, they were around for decades. So
Oh, did I do it electronic form on the internet?
no, I think they done. I think they're done
That
for
sucks.
good.
Just like the other magazines, huh? Wow.
Yeah,
Man, because Game Informer is my most recent go-to for like magazine formatted news of gaming. Because at least they share it beforehand. They'll give like a preview of what the games will come out when the PC, Xbox, PS4 platforms, and then tell you the release date and all. So that kind of format still exists in magazines. So maybe something like that you're referring to. That most articles don't do that as often.
yeah.
Because it comes down to like online articles in today's world, it's about who gets the information out first, that how much information you can give out.
But then again, this is from Game Informer's website, so I mean,
Yeah, it's website version. That's why most likely it's all about the who gets it out first more than anyone else. It's a race of
oh,
time.
okay,
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Because that's how it is in the regular news. Like the minute you hear about an incident happening in the United States, it's either Fox, CNN, ABC. They come out with it firsthand. And the regular news reports, they'll take their time with it and see what happens later on. So
yeah. So anyway, if this sounds interesting, we're gonna obviously as more updates come, we'll cover it. We'll cover it, but we're going over basically the new games that were unveiled in some form or fashion with some kind of information at the Game Awards. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
most
but
yeah most
unfortunately,
if I can say this though, Triple J, most of the Game Awards show this year here is mainly about like showing the a cutscene style type of trailer, not an actual gameplay trailer. So that's the
yeah,
problem for the last several years now with the Game Awards show. I'm starting to see that pattern of that too. I'm like, why is that I'm seeing from E3 since 2018 and Video Game Awards shows since 2017, 2016, if not, and it's showing all this like cutscene, 1080p, 4K resolution, cutscenes, but not actual gameplay of the game. It's yes, it's still in development after a couple years beforehand, but still, it's like you're not really. It's impressive at first, but then when you get the game in your hand a year, 2 years later, now all of a sudden that game is not living up to that hype.
Exactly.
So that's
And
what's going on.
even if the game is in development, keep in mind like during like 99, 2000, well 98, 99, when we were, and now Dreamcast had them, so I'll even say 2000. They had these demo discs, 10 games still in development, but you could play like a little bit, like you could play like the first level or the first 20 minutes or whatever of a certain game
Yeah.
And you didn't have to rely on cutscene hype, But now it seems like we went away from making sure the game is playable from the very beginning and just focusing on cutscene hype, and we'll worry if the game is actually operational later.
Oh yeah.
So that's unfortunately, but like I said, as more information comes out about Kamuri and these other games, we are going to keep covering them with what information we get.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to move on?
Let's move on. Yeah.
Okay. Next. After 15 years, Visions of Mana revives the series. While they may have been tided over by recent remakes and re-releases, fans of the Mana series have gone a whopping 15 years without a taste of a new mainline entry. Luckily for them, the fast is over. Visions of Mana was just announced at the Game Awards, and it's out next year. Check out the reveal trailer below. Square Enix has more details on their website. Once every 4 years, it reads, the fairy visits regions of the world to choose aims people who are fated to travel to the Tree of Mana, which presides over the world's viral flow of mana. Val invites his childhood friend to a festival to welcome the visitor, but as the night falls, the sky lights up with sparkling light, and the fairy chooses her as the aim. The game will also feature a vibrant, semi-open 3D field, though it's unclear exactly what that will look like in game. We can at least be certain it will have plenty of enemies, including series staple Rabites, and you'll be able to battle them using fast-paced, real-time combat. The wait will be over soon. Visions of Mana is out next year. Comes out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, PC in 2024. So, do you have you played this series?
I never heard of the Mana series as much, if ever, at least maybe a couple of times in the past. So, especially like 15 years without no actual new entry. Like, I gotta be like,
Yeah.
I was at least 16 years old if I never heard this game before of itself. So, I was busy playing a lot of Devil May Cry. I was busy playing Tekken, Street Fighter. So, this game must have missed me by a lot. By a lot of years, definitely.
Well, I think this was like a big franchise, like during the Super Nintendo day.
Right.
But like 15 years, let's see, that would be 2008. So yeah, so this might have been like maybe the last game was like the early PS3, Xbox 360 days. Um, let's see, Visions.
Yeah, because in
Oh
2008,
man,
2008, the games like Gears of War was coming out, Gears of War 2, Mass Effect 2, the continuation of Halo 3's expansion of the map packs and all. So,
okay, so I pulled up the adventure. I pulled up the this is the Mana series. Um, Final Fantasy Adventures, also known as Adventures of Mana, 1991, Sword of Mana, 2003, Secret of Mana in 1993, Trials of Mana, 1995, Trials of Mana 2020. I guess it was re-released in 2020. Legend of Mana 1999. A remaster came out in 2021. Children of Mana came out in 2006. Heroes of Mana came out in 2007, and then there was a collection of the games, Collection of Mana in 2017.
oh wow,
So yeah, not counting the collection because that sounds like it was they just put a bunch of games in a collection together.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was 2007 if you're not counting like remasters.
I see.
But it's also but it's also why we probably didn't recognize it. I thought I did. Final Fantasy Adventure is also referred to as Adventures of Mana. So
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
so like it might be it might be the Final Fantasy Adventure series in the United States.
Right. It was a spin-off, pretty much.
Yeah,
I did hear about a Final Fantasy having a mana game of some sort, like a Final Fantasy Mana, at least once in my lifetime. I at least heard it once.
yep. That yeah. So yeah, Adventures of Mana was also known as Final Fantasy Adventure when it first came out in 1991, and then
Mm-hmm.
it was renamed and relisted Sword of Mana in 2003.
Right.
So that's why I knew I heard it from somewhere. I just couldn't remember like the games that came out before it. But it's
Yeah.
like I knew the series. I just didn't know why. Um, but yeah, so it's a JRPG, Japan role playing game. So yeah, and even if you got the old hardware, you'll still be able to play it when it comes out in 2024.
Definitely.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay, next. GTFO makers announces new co-op heist title Den of Wolves. 10 Chambers, the studio behind the hit shooter GTFO, has another game in the works called Den of Wolves. It announced the project at the Game Awards as a co-op heist first-person shooter. Den of Wolves sees players working together as criminals for hire, working for rival corporations in Midway City. You'll assemble a crew, outfit yourselves in gear, and plan what will hopefully be a successful heist. Hopefully. Den of Wolves is coming to PC via Steam but has no release window. Okay, kind of sounds like maybe they're trying to make a rival for Payday.
Hmm.
That's what I'm getting from it. You put together a heist, you try to make it. You basically plan out a heist, and then you try to carry it out successfully. But Payday, if and I only played Payday 2. Payday 2 at least was a third person. This is first person.
Oh. It's kind of similar to that game Thief that came out many years ago on the Xbox One.
Yeah, so I mean, but maybe I have to say, Grand Theft Auto 5 when you had to plan out the heist that you were doing in that game, that was a lot of fun. You had to decide who you were going to take with you based on what skills you needed and what skills you didn't need. Um, so if it's something simple like in the Grand Theft Auto 5 interface, maybe this game will be good also.
Okay.
Again, we don't know. But at first it does sound like it's just going to be a rival to the Payday series.
Yeah. Or it could be a spiritual sequel to Thief, the game that came out
Right.
on the Xbox One.
Which came out like
PS4.
Which came out like at the beginning of the Xbox One life cycle.
Yeah. So the speculation for the time being, guys.
Yep. So ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. I do have to say that Den of Wolves that does sound interesting.
Oh yeah.
Next, Ori Team Moon Studios reveals action RPG No Rest for the Wicked. Moon Studios, the team behind Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp, has revealed No Rest for the Wicked, its first action RPG. It will be released as an early access title on Steam sometime during the first quarter of 2024 before it later releases onto PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. No Rest for the Wicked features a handcrafted world with a painterly art style. In it, players explore an island called Iola Sacra, splunking through cavernous depths, lush forests, treacherous mountain passes, and more, according to publisher Private Division. Each location on Iola Sacra is home to protagonists with their own problem, a press release reads, as well as hidden treasures, creatures, and secrets. Um, okay. Moon Studios says fights in the game are animation driven, direct, and tactile, allowing skilled players to combine visceral strikes and deadly moves. No rest for the wicked priorities skill and timing over button mashing, according to the team. We have been dreaming of being able to contribute to the action RPG genre that we all grew up with and love. Moon Studios co-founder and creative director Thomas Marlowe writes in a press release. After the success of Ori, it was clear to us that the Moon was now mature enough to finally realize those dreams. We can't wait to see how players will react to this entirely new take on the game genre. Here's more about the game straight from Moon Studios and Private Division. In the year 841, a pivotal moment dawns upon the kingdom, marked by the passing of King Harold Bolin. A devastating conflict arises when a peaceful transition of power devolves into chaos. In addition to this political turmoil, a deadly plague has reemerged on the remote island of Sakura, twisting the land and its inhabitants. Players must brandish their arms in an effort to quell both the grotesque beast and the kingdom's invading army throughout a turbulent atmosphere where they are pulled in every direction. Outside of the single-player experience, No Rest for the Wicked's multiplayer mode allows players to share their world and progress with up to 3 friends at their side in the campaign's online co-op. Every quest, boss, and hidden secret is shared with those you play with. With No Rest for the Wicked's debut at the Game Awards 2023 was nice, Moon Studios fans can watch the Wicked Inside Digital Showcase airing on March 1st, 2024 for additional information about the game. What do you think of No Rest for the Wicked's debut?
Is it based on the sequels of the Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp?
It's no, it's made by the studio that made those games.
Okay, so it's gonna be like
So it's not a sequel,
or at least a spiritual sequel.
right? But
Right.
Ori, I mean, I played the first one. Ori was more that was more like of a platformer, wasn't it?
Platform RPG at most, yeah.
Oh, is okay. So this is So this is action RPG.
Okay. Because if I recall correctly, Ori Will of the Wisp and Ori and the Blind Forest has similar gameplay to Child of Light. Because Child of Light came out back in 2014 on the PC and later on Xbox One later on that year or two. So I played Child of Light at least several times over. I see some gameplay of it I did the other year or two if it's still there on my gaming channel, or old gaming channel, just say. If it's still there, that is. Yeah, it's all right to play these games. Unfortunately, I never really played the Ori games, Ori the Blind Forest and Ori Will of the Wisp as much. Maybe I played it for like 5 minutes of the first one, but that's about it. So
I played
can't
the
remember
first
too
one.
much. Yeah.
I played the first one for like anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, so many games to choose from to play on at the same time. To download, to reinstall, uninstall, you name it. So it's kind of like, it's a constant rotation of new games coming in. So
Yeah, and then games leaving the service, and you never know what those are going to be until like 2 weeks before they leave. So
oh yeah, definitely. Especially if they're on sale, like you really want to get that because now games like Thief I saw right now are selling for about less than $3. So that's sells until January 2nd, the earliest. So that'd be nice to have my to get money beforehand, but that's not gonna happen. So, but anyway, point is that it's hard to keep track of certain sales, certain releases of certain games on my end. That is, it's a never ending battle to make time for that, and also my time for the G League and all that stuff because of the money making process behind the matter. So, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, yeah. Um, Ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. Next, Last Sentinel is a new AAA game from former Rockstar devs. Last Sentinel is a new AAA open world game announced at the Game Awards from Lightspeed LA. A Tencent-owned US-based developer, Lightspeed is led by Steve Martin, who previously worked on Rockstar Games and Electronic Arts. The game was shown off as a cinematic trailer when a young girl and her ostensible cyborg mother are under attack before being saved by a motorcycle riding hero. The trailer ends by panning up to show a massive cyberpunk city. No release information was given. Okay. Um, it's really not worth playing the trailer since it's a cinematic one.
It's up to
Did
you
you
if you want
ever
to play it.
play it anyway?
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like anyway. So
Okay.
Tear it open.
Oh, she's dead.
damn.
Oh, she's dead.
I'm scared, Mommy.
Yeah.
Hush now. It's going to be okay. The demon is here. It's the demon.
The demon.
Follow me.
Has to be a female protagonist, huh?
Yep. That's the female protagonist, huh? Yep. Okay. What do you have to say after seeing the trailer?
It's like that game that came out back in 2012 called Bionics. Something called like the Man Machine Bionics, I think it's called. I forgot the exact title of that game where you play as like one of these agencies of the government and you even fight robots and stuff like that. It's kind of similar to what this it's like in this Sentinel game is mentioned as a trailer. So it's hopefully it looks just as good as that game I mentioned. So and in detail.
Yeah. This looks like it's going to be good. I mean, again, this person who's making it did work with Rockstar Games and Electronic Arts, so it's not like they don't know how to make a good game. But unfortunately, we just don't have any information other than that trailer.
Yeah, it's like this every year with the Game Awards show for a good 5 years now. It's about showing the the good cinematic trails sequence events in the game, and that's about it. Not showing gameplay or a built-in gameplay mechanic cutscene where you play interactively with the game as at the same time, like that Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. But it's whatever for the time being. Let's see what happens when it's released.
Unfortunately, this is one of the easiest way to keep up with what games are coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm interested. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be on like Xbox. I don't know if it's going to be Xbox One or if it's just going to be PS5, Xbox Series only. But I am interested, at least until I find out whether it's current gen or if it'll also be supported by last gen.
Oh yeah.
Until then,
I know what the game called mentioned that I played before. It's called Binary Domain. That's the game.
Binary. That was awesome.
Yeah, it looks like something like that, something out of that, but way more advanced. That hopefully it looks something like that, but better. I hope.
Yeah, I loved Binary Domain. I played that all the way through. Yeah, so if it's something like that, unfortunately, we don't know what systems this is coming out. We don't know when this will come out. We just know that the person who worked on it used to work at Rockstar and Electro Games and Electronic Arts. So
That's good. Hey,
yeah,
the more the merrier of different, bigger, advanced gaming studios. You know, if game studios like Warp or people of Warp were still around to do another D game similar to this fashion, like the all the robotic but survival type of style. Like 'cause that's what D2 was about at first. You go up against these monsters in the mountains, and then you see like robots here and there once in a while, and fighting up against biomechanic monsters and shit like that. It was pretty cool that game D2. I was expecting them to do like another like D5 sometime this decade, but D4 it was all right. The game D4, but it wasn't all that great. I hear so. I'll still play it through once in a while too, whenever I get a chance. So something similar to that fashion, if ever.
right. Yep. So ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Next, Dead by Daylight spin-off revealed by Behavior Interactive and Supermassive Games, Game Awards 2023. We already knew that Behavior Interactive was teaming up to make a narrative-driven game in collaboration with Until Dawn developer Supermassive Games. And today, the studio behind Dead by Daylight has announced the casting of Frank Stone, a new story-based game set in the Dead by Daylight universe. The casting of Frank Stone is a new narrative-driven game set in the Dead by Daylight universe. According to Behavior Interactive, the casting of Frank Stone will focus on a group of friends as they investigate a steel mill and unravel a gruesome mystery. The pairing is interesting as both Behavior and Supermassive have established themselves as well-known horror game developers in the industry, each with unique strengths. Supermassive is known for making story-driven, choose-your-own-adventure games. In contrast, Behavior is known for its Dead by Daylight franchise, which delivers tense gameplay and introduces a diverse list of original and licensed killers with a unique power that makes each player different. The announcement of the casting of Frank Stone comes at an interesting time for the Dead by Daylight franchise, as Behavior Interactive has announced various ways it is growing the franchise. The casting of Frank Stone is one of two spin off games set in the Dead by Daylight universe, not to mention a Dead by Daylight movie adaptation currently in the works. How's that going to work? The casting of Frank Stone is set to be released sometime next year on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. For more, check out everything revealed at the Game Awards and our roundup of every winner for each category. Yeah, so what do you think of first a Dead by games like a mystery, like basically like a mystery you have to unravel in the Dead by Daylight universe?
It's it sounds interesting to play at first. To be honest with you, I never wasn't a big fan of Dead by Daylight or the
Right.
Friday the 13th games. Only time I played them is with friends like you, for example, other people I know. Yeah, it was a good experience as a group of friends to play, have a good time, have pizza and have some beer, and then play some Dead by Daylight. Kill each other, or the fourth guy is killing the three other people, some shit like that. So, because the last time we had something like that was with Evolve, the game that came out as a launch game for the Xbox One back in 2014 or 2013, to be more exact. But it got shut down a year or two or 3 years later after the release, so it sucks. But yeah, it's yeah, why not? Like, why not try out this Dead by Daylight spinoff? See how further into the game to go with the lore, see where it gets us.
Yeah, like they said, it's the casting of Frank Stone will focus on Grouper's friends as they investigate a steel mill and unravel a gruesome mystery. That's
Yeah,
all we know about the plot.
yeah. If they put the plot into like a segment of or a game mode, like they have like two different game modes or three different game modes, where like one could be like similar to that of the Slender Man type of game playing. That'd be cool to see something like that. And you get like cutscenes what they read and stuff like that, but it's more interactive. Still talking about the Slender Man games from the back like 10 years ago.
The what games?
Slender Man,
Oh yeah,
because it came out with a sequel after that too. Slender Man. It was a more interactive first person game as well. So
yeah. So and then they said they're making a Dead by Daylight movie.
wow, okay.
I don't know how they're going to do that because I played Dead by Daylight one time. Um, it's all about avoiding a serial killer until dawn.
Yeah, you got to get the gas going. You drive out of there or something like that, or you had to turn on the house, safe house. It was something where you had to use something with gas and gasoline and a lighter and a power supply. So
Yeah, probably it's probably going to be a bunch of people trying to stay alive in an enclosed environment from a killer.
oh yeah, definitely. The movie itself, that's kind of weird. Like maybe you pick it out a niche audience at best from that. Because I know one female gamer by the name of V3, we'll call her. She plays a lot of Dead by Daylight for years now, and she's still fairly new to the Xbox community. I don't know if she played games before Xbox one because I met her through Twitter and all, and we interact once in a blue moon or whatever. She's telling me like, "Oh, I play a lot of Dead by Daylight," so this might be up her alley if she's listening on our conversation on our podcast. So more power to her. Like get her going, playing that, watching the movie as well too. You know.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is interesting. If you like, if you like Dead by Daylight, you'll probably like this game coming out.
Definitely. Hey, hell, you don't know. Maybe Dead by Daylight could be a good 8-part, horror movie like the Freddy versus Jason or Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, shit like that. Mike Myers.
Maybe, yeah, maybe if they could work a deal with the killers that they have licensed, maybe like each movie features a different killer.
Oh, or like a battle royale type of.
No, not Battle Royale, but like we know Chucky, Chucky's in Dead by Daylight. He's the newest addition. So like one movie is Dead by Daylight with Chucky, the next is a Dead by Daylight with a different killer that have appeared in the games before. The killers don't interact, but like each one is a movie of some number of survivors trying to survive the night with this killer running loose.
Right. I was expecting a battle royale type of sense where, like, some of those horror movies like Freddy versus Jason, like kind of like that, but 5 horror film style IPs into one, movie fighting each other in a battle royale sense. Kind of interesting to see something like that.
That could work also.
That'll help out the sales of almost horror movies because obviously, in my perspective, I see that the horror movies of today is not as great as it once was back 30 years ago with Freddy and Jason and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it's winding down. Oh, sure, we have Saw, we have the outer, it was called the Outer Limits or some shit like that. It was some weird ass movie from the 2000s, whatever. But stuff like that that's still around, but it's not as great or as popular as it used to be. Because obviously a lot of censorship. There's a lot of approvals of insurances, stuff like that, of like violence and gore and shit. There's some weird, stupid stuff in the background here, with the horror movies. So,
that would actually, when you brought up the Saw movies, imagine Jigsaw as one of the killers.
oh yeah, shit, dude.
That would be interesting, especially you have to play Jigsaw's game to survive.
Yeah, it can happen. Like first and foremost, you have to bring out Dead by Daylight as a movie by itself first, and then build up a story behind that, and then try to put the Freddy movies, the last Freddy movie and the last Jason movie together, and then put that shit together as well. Because Freddy versus Jason, there was no sequel after that. There was no actual other occurrence sequels of them fighting each other. So you gotta find some way to put that together. So it's a lot of work to be done, but they can create a good series of events for horror movies for these franchises again. It'll be a renaissance pretty much.
Yeah, so maybe the Dead by Daylight movie's not totally a bad idea as I thought it was at first, but
it's not gonna be for a niche audience though. That's the downfall.
Yeah, but we'll just have to see when the movie comes out and when this new game comes out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're going to be interested in the next story.
Ooh, yeah.
Yoshimitsu cuts to the chase in new Tekken 8 gameplay trailer. Tekken 8 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC in just over a month on January 26, 2024. As the release date nears, developer Bandai Namco has been releasing more and more about the latest entry in its flagship fighting series. We learned about newcomer Reina last month and recently went hands-on with the game too. Read Game Informer's Tekken 8 preview here. Now Bandai Namco has revealed the first gameplay trailer for its mechanized space ninja Yoshimitsu. It did so with a new Tekken 8 gameplay trailer that shows Yoshimitsu whipping and slicing through various fighters in the game's roster. This ninja is no stranger to the Tekken series, having appeared in every mainline numbered Tekken game since the series started. He's actually my favorite fighter, and for money, this is his best look yet. Check him out in the Tekken 8 Yoshimitsu reveal and gameplay trailer for yourself below. As you can see, Yoshimitsu unsurprisingly relies on his ninja sword to do a lot of damage to enemy fighters, and he does so with the speed the character is known for. Tekken 8 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC on January 26, 2024. For more about the game, watch the fighter reveal trailer for characters like Nina Williams, Paul Phoenix, Marshall Law, John Kazuma, and Reina. After that, read Game Informer's preview thoughts of Tekken 8 after playing the game for a couple of hours. Do you want me to play the trailer?
Oh yeah, please. Let's see this gameplay trailer.
All right, here we go. Oh.
Get ready for the next battle. Tekken 8. New challenger. Yoshimitsu.
Oh shit, son. Oh, their rivalry, Brian Fury, Yoshimitsu.
Oh, their rivalry, Brian Fury, Yoshimitsu.
Just like kill my master. Or Dr. Paskanovich.
Or Dr. Paskanovich.
That's Rage Art. Modified Rage Art. Wow. Damn.
Modified Rage Art. Wow. Damn.
Oh, goddamn. January 26th, man, another month from now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. Yoshimitsu definitely still got some fight in him after 8 Tekkens plus later, you know? Because he's been around since Tekken 1.
Yeah, he's been in every numbered entry since the beginning. Are you going to be playing Tekken 8 when it comes out next month, or?
You're damn right I'm going to get it for the Xbox or PS5 somehow, some way. Hell, even PC if ever. Fuck, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have... Yeah, unless you got an Xbox Series, I don't know about. You might have to get it for... you might have to get it for PC unless you got the money to get a new console as well.
Yeah, a new PC or get the Xbox console. Yeah, it's gonna be iffy right there, man. I'm excited as fuck now with this Yoshi guy. Yoshimitsu. Yeah. Gotta like this guy.
Yoshimitsu was also in Soul Calibur, if I'm not mistaken.
Almost every Soul Calibur is a Soul Calibur 1999. Yeah.
No, I think he was in the first one.
Because if you don't forget, he wasn't in Soul Edge.
Oh, Soul Blade.
Yeah, or Soul Blade or Soul Edge. It's one of those two.
The PlayStation one.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Um, and what do you think about the roster that we know about? We know about Nina. We know about Wayno. We know about Martial Law, Jun Kazama, Yoshimitsu. Are you
Steve,
happy with how the rosters are turning, shaping up to be, or?
even Steve Fox, I hear, is going to be part of it too, right?
I don't know. The characters they named is the only ones we know about.
Oh, okay. Because Steve Fox and Nina were not wrapped up properly, meaning that because Nina is the mother of Steve Fox in Tekken 5, not Tekken 4 that was revealed. So, and that was when Steve Fox started in Tekken 4. So, and then Brian Fury was fighting Yoshimitsu. They were fighting each other after Brian Fury killed Dr. Paskanovich, who was Yoshimitsu was protecting Dr. B, if I remember correctly. I don't remember all the details, but basically, Dr. Paskanovich was enhancing Brian Fury's life cybernetics he has within his body, Brian Fury, and then he gave him like Tekken 3 to Tekken 4, and then by Tekken 5 he killed Dr. Paskanovich. Then Yoshimitsu was after avenge his friend to go after Brian Fury, and whatever happened at Tekken 5 then finished up until Tekken 8, which is now. So let's see what happens with that rivalry, and then now Horang and Jin Kazama, they've been having a rivalry since Tekken 3, because every Tekken they always fight each other at the end of their tournaments and all. So it's pretty gonna be interesting to see how Tekken 8 is gonna wrap itself up. If it's gonna be ending, is it gonna be more continuations of Tekken? You know, 'cause it's been like 25, almost 30 years now since Tekken 1. That's like 1984, 95 came out. So it's kind of like, gotta wrap it up,
Right.
That's how I feel
Okay.
about the situation. I mean, you gotta be like a long time Tekken fan, long time Tekken player to understand the stories by now. Otherwise, you play a lot of catch up in each of these Tekkens.
Right.
Especially
Yeah.
especially 25 years. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, just about. If the first one came out in '99, well, no, that was when did the first Tekken come out? Do you know?
94, 95, give or take.
Oh wow. So yeah. So we're almost at like that 30-year mark.
Yeah, my friend.
Yeah. So Yoshimitsu, what do you think of Yoshimitsu's new design? Do you hate it? Like it? Not indifferent to it?
It doesn't affect me. It just seems usually he's more badass with it, and now his sword is taking control of his fighting in a sense. Like he used to have
Right.
master as a sword over himself. Now all of a sudden his sword is mastering him. Kind of weird. I don't understand that logic, but whatever.
Yep. So anyway, this will be coming. Tekken 8 will be coming out in a month. I know you've been waiting a long time for it.
Yeah, because I've been playing Tekken 7 as often as I can on both the PC and Xbox One. But just the PC version, obviously, I lack um, for high quality game playing, so I barely play the PC. But whenever I get a chance to have Xbox Gold and Xbox One, I play that. Try to play that for a couple of hours at a time. Try to master Horang, Lin Chao Yu, a little bit of Steve Fox, a little bit of martial law, Paul Phoenix. They got rid of the Burning Fist with Paul Phoenix though, so it's Tekken 6 if not Tekken 7. So what
Oh.
sucks. You heard the Burning Fist before by Paul Phoenix, right?
Yep.
Where he uses a charged up punch and it takes like 90% of your health. That was crazy shit right there. Who designed that? That was crazy, but it takes a while to wind up that attack though. So and I think they still kept on to Jin Kazama's Avenger, where that's similar to the Burning Fist, but it's much longer. But when you get hit by an Avenger, it takes like 75% of your health. So
Okay. Well. Okay. Ready to move on?
yes, I'm getting too excited for this podcast right now.
Whoa. You still there?
Even right now,
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
loud and clear. I'm getting
Okay.
too excited. That's all.
Uh, no, just you sound different all of a sudden.
Really.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. I don't know what happened, but mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me right now, Triple J?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yep. It's back to where it was before. It was like before it was like you I don't know. You were coming in a little more clear than you had been. Um, just caught me off guard. Now,
Right.
but now you sound back like to normal.
Okay. Not a problem.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next, the first Berserker, Kazan, is a single-player action RPG set in the DNF universe. Dave the Diver publisher Nexon and developer Neeple have revealed the first Berserker, Kazan, a single-player action RPG that is the next entry in the long-running Dungeon and Fighter universe. The first Berserker, Kazan, stands in stark contrast to the most recent entry in the universe, DNF Duel, a multiplayer fighting game released last year. Neeple says the DNF series combines the fast-paced, higher-energy action of old-school brawlers with classic RPG elements, all wrapped in anime-esque art style. However, with the first Berserker, Kazan players can expect hack and slash combat and plenty of customization. Uh, the Pale Lost Empire has been saved at a cost, a press release reads, after the great General Kazan and Archmage Ozma defeat the Berserk Dragon, Hismar, and the Dragon Legion. Players will step into the shoes of Kazan as he is falsely accused of treason and exited beyond the Empire. Neeple says in the first Berserker Kazan, combat takes center stage in Kazan's quest for vengeance against those who orchestrated his downfall, marked by intense, aggressive, and ever-changing styles of battle. To survive, players must master combat, upgrade character skills, and combine weapons and armor, each with unique perks. The more missions cleared, the tougher the bosses, but defeating them and finishing missions earns players powerful gear and abilities. The first Berserker Kazan will launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC sometime in the future. What do you think of the first Berserker Kazan's of the first Berserker Kazan?
I never heard of this game before necessarily. It's based on the DMF universe. What's the DMF universe again? I'm sorry.
DNF. Hold on, it was here somewhere. DNF. They had it. I just have to. Let me just cruise the article for a minute. Weird. Dungeon and Fighter Universe.
Dungeon and Fighter universe. Oh wow.
And the latest game was Dungeon and Fighter Duel, a multiplayer fighting game released last year.
Oh, I think I never heard of this necessarily before. How I missed this one? I can't say much about it, Triple J. Sorry.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say. I mean, um, well, you're falsely accused of treason. You have to leave the Empire. Um, and then you go after the people who are responsible for your downfall. Um, yeah, so I mean, it sounds interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but as it as it comes out and we see gameplay and everything, we'll be able to say more for sure. So ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Next, Hello Games announces Light No Fire, a massive multiplayer exploration-based fantasy game. Following Hello Games' celebratory video commemorating 10 years since the initial No Man's Sky reveal trailer, Sean Murray had one more video for viewers of the Game Awards. The trailer showed off an all-new game called Light No Fire, which appears to be on a similar level of ambition as the universe-sprawling No Man's Sky. Rather than going full science fiction as it did with No Man's Sky, Hello Games opened to explore a fantasy setting this time around. With the massive Earth-like planet to explore alongside huge groups of people, Light No Fire lets you scale mountains, scour the surface, swim beneath the waves, and even soar through the skies on the backs of dragons. The beautiful world appears to be yours for the taking, as you can harvest resources, fight off encroaching enemies, and even build settlements. No release window was given for Light No Fire, but if what Hello Games showed off at the Game Awards is any indication, the wait for this one could prove excruciating. While No Man's Sky shows little signs of slowing down, I can't wait to see what else this talented team has up its sleeves. Yeah, as long as it doesn't have the same release No Man's Sky did.
Oh yeah.
So, what do you think of this game, Light No Fire?
Light No Fire, massive multiplayer exploration based fantasy game.
It's basically a game where like you get to explore everything. You get to explore mountains. You get to explore oceans. Like on the ocean floor, you get to fly through skies on the backs of dragons, and basically your job is to collect resources, build settlements, and fight off invaders.
I see. Okay, something new to me actually experience. Yeah, I'll give it a try when it comes out next year or two.
Yep. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't have. I mean, the people who made No Man's Sky though, they're making this game also, and I
Right.
just hope that Light No Fire doesn't have the same release problems as No Man's Sky, because No Man's Sky had like nothing, was like a barren wasteland in the beginning.
Okay.
It was only after the game came out and developers kept adding to it that, and people willing to give it a chance, that the game became uh, that the game became great.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to say or
Yeah, right, we can move on right now if you like.
okay? Yeah, so I'm just saying, Light No Fire. I hope the developers of Dead by not Dead by Day. I almost said Dead by Daylight. I hope the developers of No Man's Sky that's making Light No Fire doesn't make the same mistake they did with No Man's Sky when that first came out.
Imagine a Dead by Daylight Hello Games. All the dragons flying around and the serial killer is like, oh my god, he's gonna grab me by the throat and kill me, the dragon. Oh my god, no. It wouldn't look right.
Okay. Monster Hunter Wilds revealed at the Game Awards. Tonight during the Game Awards, Capcom revealed Monster Hunter Wilds, the next tentpole title in the Monster Hunter series. The game is expected to be released on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC sometime in 2025. The trailer shows off a slew of gameplay, including traversal and combat, as well as plenty of looks at the vast, vast world. Check it out below. Wilds is the follow-up to 2018's Monster Hunter World, Capcom's best-selling game.
Hmm.
Did you ever play Monster Hunter?
I've heard of Monster
Or
Hunter for years, of course, on my end. Unfortunately, I never delved into the series until Monster Hunter World. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Monster Hunter World. That game came out back in 2018, 2017, give or take. And I got the game for about $20 on sale back a couple of years ago. But I never got a chance to pass past the 1 hour, 2 hour mark in the game, so I can't say much about it. But this, based on playing the first couple of hours, though, was pretty interesting. So, pretty epic, exploration, try out different monsters to use and to utilize in combat and all. It's kind of like Pokemon, but very epic.
well, yeah,
Something like that.
I could see that from.
Oh yeah, but there's these huge monsters, so they're not like fucking like Pikachu size. Come on now.
Yeah, so well, it didn't it? I mean, so yeah, if you're a fan of the Monster Hunter franchise, you'll probably be a fan of this one because it is a follow up to Monster Hunter World. So,
Oh yeah,
Monster Hunter Wild's coming out sometime in 2025.
2025. Nice, not bad. I got time.
Yep.
Hell, I
Yeah.
still just need to play Iceborne. Yeah, the expansion to Monster Hunter World, if I remember correctly. So
Ready to move on?
yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Starbreeze announces Project Baxter, a new Dungeons and Dragons cooperative multiplayer game. Starbreeze, the studio behind games such as Payday 3, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and The Darkness, has announced a partnership with Wizards of the Coast to develop and publish a new cooperative multiplayer game set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. The title is codenamed Project Baxter and is slated to arrive in 2026. In a press release, Starbreeze states that Baxter is being developed in Unreal Engine 5 and will carry the signature Starbreeze game cornerstones of cooperative multiplayer, lifetime commitment through a games as a service model, community engagement, and a larger-than-life experience. Although D&D is a role-playing game, it's unclear what genre Project Baxter will be. Project Baxter is slated to launch on all major platforms and will feature crossplay. Starbreeze released a piece of concept artwork posted above as a small visual hint of what's to come. Okay. In a year where Baldur's Gate 3 delivered on faithfully replicating the D&D experience in video games, Starbreeze has a lot to live up to. But as a D&D fan, it's cool to see more AAA projects based on the license, so hopefully Project Baxter turns out well. For more on Starbreeze, check out our review of its latest title, Payday 3, here. So, there's things I like about this. There's things I don't like about this. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think you should go first. Since it sounds like you've been more involved with the Dungeons and Dragons than I am.
Okay, well, I haven't. I used to see my brother play Dungeons and Dragons. I never got to play along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they said we'll carry the signature Starbreeze. This is what the part of the article I didn't like. The signature Starbreeze game cornerstones of cooperative multiplayer, lifetime commitment through a games as a service model. That's the part I have the problem with the most. Games as a service model. We don't want games as a service model. We want games that we can pay once and play, and that's it. Well, at least that's what I want. But unfortunately, it looks like Project Baxter's going to be microtransactions or a season pass game or something like that. Dr. Games 101, you got anything to say?
I want to say though that Dungeons and Dragons I've been here since I was a kid. With all the board games and all coming out on in the market back in the 70s to the 90s, and by the 90s they created some games that started mainstream over time. Personally, myself, I'm not a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons per se, but I do try to hear every now and then what's going on with the games or the game franchises of this particular IP and all. And things have definitely changed over the last couple of years now because they have been changing the rules and such like that in the games of Dungeons and Dragons. So it's kind of like after all these decades, they want to broaden the audience a bit, or most likely. So whatever they're doing with that particular board games and then put that with the game and all, I guess they try to expand their horizons. So I understand where you come from, Triple J, where they try to fuck around with too much with the Dungeons and Dragons aspect of the franchise of itself, with the lore, the gameplay, etc., etc. But they try something different, and if it occurs to get more players in, it's risky, but let's see what happens. Yeah.
Like I said, my biggest problem is the games as a service model that this game is gonna be continue.
I like Fortnite and shit like that, kind of like that fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand the feeling where most live service games are starting to be more mainstream into the public of gaming, or the mainstream of the gamers' perspective now, because obviously they're younger gamers now who grew up on live service games and then they're used to it. So they're gonna still buy the merchandise or the microtransactions, things that matter. So they already have an audience already for this Dungeons and Dragons cooperative game they want to do. But this is something we can do for the time being. Jim Snow was against it for how many years? Was against it publicly. He denounced it. He told the younger gamers stop buying microtransactions, but they still buying it because to get their mommy's credit card. What's the point? What's the problem? So it's more power to the those different gamers now. I wish we older gamers could have a say in the matter, but it's too late because We're stuck with the regular games we have from over the last how many decades so far? You know, the fighting games like Tekken, RPG games like Final Fantasy. So we already have a collection of games that already we can go back on ourselves. While the new generation of gamers, like they don't have nothing to going back on, which doesn't make any
Right.
sense though.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense because we have an archive of how many games for how many decades, but they refuse to go back on older games. Some of these younger gamers, I'm hearing.
Well, the Nintendo came out in 1985, so like 85, 86 in the states. So I mean, almost 40 years. Not quite 40 years, closer to 35. But that I mean, because my first console was the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Likewise,
So yeah, so like as far as we go back, um, we got like 35, 40 years of games with a fraction. Again, there's three types of games. There's the games we played as a kid. There's the games that we didn't play as a kid, and there's the games that we can't didn't play as a kid and can't play now because they're overpriced if they even exist at all.
that too. That's the biggest one so far for me.
So yeah, so I mean, like some games, like there are legendary NES games and Super Nintendo games. I mean, there's Ninja Gaiden Trilogy for Super Nintendo, which is the first three games on an SNES cartridge. But that SNES cartridge goes for hundreds of dollars.
Hmm.
So it's like that's one game we wouldn't be able to try. We'd be better off at least getting Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 for Nintendo, um, for the actual NES itself. 3 is kind of expensive though.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, but like just as Doctor Games one was saying, we have these games to go back to. Um, the kids today don't, but that doesn't mean they couldn't research and look at find games or try games that didn't require a subscription to play or a games as a
Microtransactions.
service model.
Yeah. But
But again, most young kids are going to want the here and now.
and by the time they reach adulthood, they be like, "Oh, I can't play my Fortnite. I can't play my Apex because they'll I went out of service after lack of popularity." That's the downside of it too. So it's kind of like no matter what, they still have to go back on older games and see how the model works back when we were kids, and it worked well for how many decades. And now all of a sudden, for the last
Yeah.
5 or 7 years now, at least, it's all about live service, like Fortnite, Apex, it was FCN1 or some shit like that, and it's PUBG and all. Nakara is one of them, Nakara Blade Point, because that's a new battle royale game you have to play now, which I played about the tutorial so far for the first few minutes. It wasn't so bad. But I still haven't just played the battle royales yet in Nakara. But it's gonna be crazy where it's like that game's gonna be out of service or out of like popularity. Because in order to maintain that player base in the games, you need the population to be playing that game a lot throughout the day, especially during the major hours of the night. From like from like 5 o'clock at p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about midnight. That's the biggest time of the population of any game online to be like considered substantially able to sustain growth or sustain some sort of relevance in the gaming market. So
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is but this is what Project Baxter's going to be like. I love the Dungeons and Dragons setting. Um, I always love the games like that. Was anything like Dungeons and Dragons, exploring, fighting enemies, collecting gold, stuff like that. Um, but we'll see what Project Baxter is like when it comes out.
oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to move on?
I also want to say this though. I think you mentioned something about this particular Dungeons and Dragons cooperative multiplayer game as being live service games as well. But in order for that to change around in the future, for any future Dungeons and Dragons game, the majority of the gamers have to voice their opinions in an organized fashion for it to happen. But at this
Yeah.
rate, though, it's not happening anytime soon. And I'm trying to tell the 20-year-old gamers, like between the ages of 18 to 25, 30 years old, these guys complain so much about, oh, I wish Call of Duty was like this again. I wish what's it called? Super Mario was like this again, whatever the games were. And I tell them like it's based on how you guys get older now, and you have to accept the fact that if you want some change in this industry, you have to be organized and also organized accordingly. Because back when we were kids, we were told that if you want some change, you had to organize. So it's kind of like
Yep.
they're not into that shit because now they've been corporatized these 25 and younger crowd. Like they all been corporatized where it's like, okay, the corporations are good, they're our friends, we have to listen to them, etc., etc. Well, while we were growing up, it was about fight the powers, fight the corporations, make sure the corporations don't do evil, shit like that. Now, that's when Final Fantasy 7 came out with the anti, corporate message in their game and stuff like that, as one example. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So Yeah. So I mean. Yeah. It's. I mean, as long as they have their audience, as long as they're making the money, it's going to continue. The this games as a model thing, but I do want you to remember this just for when we covered the last story about Alan Wake 2's sales.
right?
Um, because I think we're gonna I think this kind of conversation we're gonna come back to when we talk about Alan Wake's 2 sales at the end of this podcast. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, ready.
Okay. Let's see. So that was that. Next, Fortnite adding Nintendo characters makes no sense, former employee says. Epic's Fortnite platform has welcomed crossover characters from Sony and Microsoft already through Kratos, Alloy, and Master Chief, but no Nintendo characters have appeared in the game as of yet. That's not for a lack of trying, though. Epic ecosystem boss Sax's person told Axios that Fortnite players would love it if Nintendo characters came to Fortnite. A former Nintendo employee, however, believes this will never happen and that the idea makes no sense. Pearson says Nintendo has their strategy and we have our strategy. Pearson says there is a hope that at some point Nintendo might agree to a deal. Discussing how much effort Epic has put into trying to convince Nintendo to allow it, Pearson says, I don't know what the word for like making diamonds is. Nintendo characters have crossed over to other games before, as Mario appears in Ubisoft's Mario and Rabbids series and Sega's Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games franchise. Then there was the time Link appeared as a playable character in Soul Calibur 2 from Namco, at least on the GameCube. Kurt Ellis, a former Nintendo employee who has since left the company, said in a video that there is no reason for Nintendo to bring any of its characters to Fortnite. Nintendo has spent decades building up these characters, building up this IP to the point where it is now where the Mario movie can be $1 billion and Nintendo Switch is the best-selling console, Ellis said. They don't need Fortnite. They're bigger than Fortnite. The stuff that they do is bigger than Fortnite. Ellis went on to say that it makes no sense for Nintendo to lend any of its characters to Fortnite for plenty of reasons, including the belief that Fortnite is a game about shooting people, which goes against Nintendo's values. For what it's worth, Fortnite is much bigger than Battle Royale alone, as it now features numerous other ways to play and is beginning to seem more akin to a platform than any one particular game. But no one should expect to play as Mario in Fortnite, Ellis said. It doesn't really matter how hard Epic tries, this ain't going to happen, Ellis said. Long ago, a quote from on Twitter from Kitten Krista goes, What's the upside for Nintendo to bring its characters to Fortnite? These aren't the Wii U days anymore. Ouch. Long ago, there were rumors of Samus from the Metroid series coming to Fortnite, but that never materialized. Fortnite just wrapped up one of its biggest weeks ever with the launches of Chapter 5 Season 1 that marked a new beginning for the game, as well as LEGO Fortnite and Fortnite Festival. Together, more than 6.6 million people were logged into Fortnite across its various modes. For more on Fortnite's big moves, check out GameSpot's opinion piece that explains why these recent updates make the game feel like Fortnite 2, even if Epic won't call it that. Do you think Nintendo characters should appear in Fortnite, or Nintendo should continue saying no?
Shit. It's getting weirder and weirder as Fortnite. Like, Fortnite has all sorts of characters these past several years now. The Dragon Ball and, what's it called? Fucking, what's it called? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in it at one point of its
Don't
events.
forget, Eminem came to Fortnite.
Yeah, the other week or two. Yeah, that was crazy. The OG.
Heck, even Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair from WWE, I think, are in Fortnite.
Man, they have all sorts of characters in Fortnite. So if
Yeah.
they want to add more to it, I mean, it's okay if the kids love it. And so to remember that it's just a separate IP. Like, because obviously these kids, like, if they all grew nothing but Fortnite on their gaming experience, they gotta think of Fortnite. Oh, that's where Eminem's from. Oh, that's where
Yeah.
Becky Lynch is from. Oh, that's where Malcolm X and Dr. King. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's come to the point where it's like you're manipulating these kids' minds, where it's like you're not telling them the lore or the origin of these characters, properly. It's you know,
Yeah, some kids probably think Master Chief came from Fortnite.
yeah.
Halo, okay.
And they never touched Halo before. That's the screwed up part. Like they got these kids by their brains, literally. Like it's like they literally control what they get from all that internet feed of the swipes and stuff like the V Bucks challenge or the V Bucks giveaways that these YouTubers is doing to these kids, and that's fine. It's you want to entice kids to play your game or your sponsored game, go right ahead. But at least tell them like, hey kid, like there's other stuff out there, explore.
Yeah, but I like whoever that Twitter user said that these aren't the Wii U days anymore. What's the upside to Nintendo characters appearing in Fortnite? Which, to be honest, it's not a bad argument. I mean, the Switch is doing very well. The Mario movie, which I thought wasn't going to succeed, did. So it's kind of like they don't need Fortnite. It's not like when the GameCube first came out and like they had Link and Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube part.
Yeah.
I think Heihachi was in the PlayStation one and Spawn was in the Xbox one. So whatever console you were playing Soul Calibur 2 on depended what bonus character you got. But yeah, but like the GameCube, that was also like 20 years ago, almost 25.
Yep.
Nintendo was a lot smaller than it is now. So, again, I really don't see. I mean, what would be the point of Mario or Luigi appearing in Fortnite? What would be the point of Princess Peach or Bowser appearing in Fortnite?
Shit.
What would be the point of Pikachu appearing in Fortnite?
Goddamn.
If,
Or like Ash Ketchum.
Yeah. But I do have to say, Metroid, at least Samus, I mean, that's the only one that makes sense because Samus does shoot a gun. But yeah, like I'm thinking of other characters. Kirby doesn't, Link doesn't, Mario doesn't, so yeah, so I mean, like
how about the Shy Guys? The Shy Guys.
Yeah. So unless maybe Samus I could see, but other than that, I wouldn't see a reason why Nintendo would do it unless Nintendo was getting lots of money in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, you would have to give Nintendo more money than they're making. So, but then again, you also risk of kids thinking, "Hey, this character came from Fortnite." So. Like I think I agree with the person who said it. Nintendo's spent decades on developing some of these IPs. You don't want to just pimp them out to Fortnite for, a quick reaction and maybe a few bucks.
Not even a few bucks, like temporarily. But I feel like a certain Nintendo's still going off like the 50th anniversary, but the 40th anniversary of Nintendo, if it's coming up soon, maybe do something like that temporarily. But that's about it.
Yeah. So, again, if you're hoping to play as Mario, Luigi, Kirby, Link, or different, I'm starting to blank. If you're hoping to play the first party Nintendo character in Fortnite, you're probably going to be waiting a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora has online DRM, even on console. A Redditor claims their physical copy of the open-world Avatar shooter won't start wouldn't start on PS5. A Redditor who received their PS5 copy of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora before launch has claimed the game will not work without an online connection. As VGC reports, Redditor Interesting Squash 81 took to the game subreddit to share the unfortunate news. Their copy of Ubisoft's open world Avatar shooter arrived early, so naturally they were eager to play it. But when they booted the game up, it just hung on the title screen. Interesting, Squash 81 tried a few different tricks, including changing the PlayStation 5's internal clock, similar to what Mortal Kombat 1 players did to avoid buying skins, and launching in offline mode, but nothing seemed to change. The game just wouldn't play, presumably because it needs to pass an online check, aka DRM. Other commenters also said their copies of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora were not playable. It's unclear whether this online check is tied to a day one patch or a verification of the appropriate release time. Frontiers of Pandora doesn't have an early access period in the same way a Call of Duty game might. But other way, folks will need an internet connection to get the game going. This is specified by a line on the box that reads, "Internet required to install this game." Though
Wow.
it's not, yeah, though it's not unheard. Whoa, hold on, scrolled too far down. Though it's not unheard of, it is strange for physical games to require an internet connection in order to play. DRM is typically meant to combat piracy, with the license of the thing you're buying being tied to the platform you bought it on to verify ownership. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora isn't the first game to require an internet connection, but it does make you wonder what's the nature of media ownership looks like in this day and age. What's more, it risks excluding players who aren't able to get reliable internet access for whatever reason. Telling a standalone story in a never before seen part of Pandora with director James Cameron's large Avatar universe, Frontiers of Pandora sees you play as Navi to preserve the world from humans who threaten it. The game drops on December 7th. PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Sorry, last gen owners, this one requires the power of next gen. Okay, this and the next story that we're going to cover explains the problem with modern gaming, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because it's bad enough when games come with like 1% of the game on the disc, and you still need to download the rest from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're gonna need the internet and the current gen console to play this game. Doctor Games 101. This is, I mean, in my opinion, like I said, this is the problem, well, one of the problems with modern gaming.
Yeah. DRM.
Do you agree, or
The three-letter words of hate. DRM. I agree.
yes? I mean, yeah. So I mean, it sucks, but unfortunately, this is the way games are seeming to go. And honestly, it's DRM is more like an abuse of. Um, it's more of a way to abuse the players now.
Oh yeah. If I can say this though, now 15, 20 years ago almost, it has to be 20 years ago now almost. I bought PC games when I had the code built, not built in, but a code included in the casing of the game and all. When I buy that at Best Buy or GameStop, etc., etc. But now since 2000, what 10, 2011, now you have to use DRM of some sort to play them online, and it's like some games, yes, don't have it, but then it started to build to a part where more and more games, more and more companies are accepting DRM into their systems, all for the sake of security, piracy, or prevent piracy, etc., etc. But the problem with the downside to that is that once until the company is shut down, or the system is shut down, or both, the company no longer cannot renew the DRM every time you go online. It's over. That's what happened to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, if I remember correctly. The one with Raiden in it, part of the Metal Gear Solid games and all. That came out back in 2012 because Apple programs or Apple products couldn't verify those copies on their Apple products back then with the company and all. When the companies got shut down, the DRM was included, though that went out of service as well too. So now all Mac players or all Apple product players cannot play on the Apple of Mac, Macintosh, whatever it is at the time, Windows, not Windows, but pretty much Apple Macintosh Pro gaming cannot play it at all. It's a brick. It's useless. So if companies can find some way to reroute that or to reinvigorate those codes after shutting down their servers and all, or have a built-in DRM in the disk itself or the copy of the game itself, whether it's digital or disk, I'm okay with their DRM at that point because now it's your copy. You have a license to it. It lasts forever almost. If it creates corrupted, you can always get a copy of it through other means, through on the internet, whatever, so on and so forth. So you have some sort of like digital code or a built-in copy, a built-in etching of that copy. You know what I'm saying, Triple J? In a sense?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, DRM is just starting to kick legal players out of their games.
Yeah. They don't want you to own it anymore. It's ridiculous. Like 30 years ago, not even 15 years ago, you bought the game physical. You have a copy of the physical game. You have a license to that game, and you can keep the license as well too. Especially if it's on the Xbox 360, PS3 era. But since it's the Xbox One, PS4, and the current day PCs and all, now it's all about who can last long as a company to sustain these day one patches or these day one DRMs or whatever they call them. So
yeah, like I got UFC Undisputed 2010 for PS3. I can play that whenever I want, as long as I want.
Oh yeah,
it's not the same that you can say about other games. You know. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on, but I do want to play this Avatar game that came out. It had no advertisements at first for the game, but then when it came out back a few days ago, I'm willing to play it now. But the problem is, like I said, the DRM. If they could just like find some way to like put the copy of the code in or etch the copy of the code into the copy of each copy, then it might work better than just try to make people go through the internet connection. Because everyone's going to have internet at all times. Maybe in the city. Maybe you live in a city like New York City, California, etc., Tokyo, Japan, etc., yeah. But if you're out in the rural communities or the suburbs especially, there are times where there's these ice storms and snowstorms, desert heat strokes, or whatever you want to call them. Like if you live in the desert, you can always have the connection at all times because of these conditions. So these companies got to stop thinking like 100 years ahead. They're thinking 100 years ahead at first. That's good. But they have to think like people are still living in like, in these 1990s era type of like, internet still in a sense. So that's how I think of it.
Yeah, I agree. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. This next story kind of is with the we did cover it 2 weeks ago, at least a little bit, but we'll cover it again. Sony is about to remove over 1,000 Discovery shows, even if you purchase them. Buyer beware. Sony is removing purchased Discovery television shows from its PlayStation Media platform by the end of this month, going into the new year. In a legal notice sent to users who had previously purchased Discovery content on the PlayStation Store, the company said shows would become unavailable due to licensing issues from December 31st. Due to our current licensing arrangements with content providers, you will no longer be able to watch any previously purchased Discovery content, and the content will be removed from your video library, the notice said. We sincerely thank you for your continued support. Over 1,300 seasons of shows like Animal Planet Presents, Cake Boss, Deadliest Catch, American Chopper, How It's Made, and Mythbusters will be removed. I also saw A Haunting, which I watch. You can check out the full list here which Sony provided. The removal of the shows prompted even more support for the resurgence of physical media online, even when retailers like Best Buy and Target are getting out of that business, or at the very least scaling back. It's interesting to note, though, that Sony does not own the content being removed, and it's under the Warner Bros. Discovery umbrella. It could be WBD isn't renewing licensing for third-party apps and keeping everything on Max Prime Video, and even Google Play have similar agreements when you purchase something digitally in that you don't own the product but hold the license. Should that license be removed? Well, Last year, PlayStation removed purchase content from Studio Canal due to evolving licensing agreements with its content providers, leaving users unable to view purchased movies from their library. Um, so yeah, basically, if you purchase movies and they fall in the under the Warner Brothers Discovery umbrella, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And I heard that WWE is starting to get out of DVD games or DVD and um, 4K games. So basically, the only way to watch WWE events will be streaming either on their network or some other network like Peacock that allow that if WWE um, has a license with them. Um, but unfortunately, you don't own anything when you buy it digitally, and that's I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to that now.
Yep. And DVDs, it
So
lasts for years upon years. Before I throw all my DVDs out due to the Hulk Hogan slander thing back in 2015 and all, well, I told you that show we should do together, Triple J. But during that time, I had about at least like 15, 20 pay per view on DVDs. And it was like from like Vengeance 2005, Rumble Royal 2007, the Bash 2008 with Batista in it and shit. So it's good to have those at the time, in a collection. But if you get on WWE Network, the network can just take down any pay per view they want to because of censorship reasons or political corrections or SJW moments, stuff like that. Shit like that. It's kind of you can't control it.
yeah, so I mean, at least they're not. Yeah, at least if you have a DVD, you could watch it in its pure form of whatever is on that DVD whenever you want. And honestly, I think that's the best way to go. Before DVDs, that even if Best Buy and Target are going to stop selling them, always do a search online. eBay, Walmart still selling them online. I wouldn't be surprised if Best Buy and Target are still selling them online, just not in person.
Yeah.
So check out those storefronts, check out eBay, and if you have a favorite movie or a favorite TV show, get the box set of that TV show, get the movie on DVD so you can watch it whenever you want, and that way the only time you'll be out of money or be out of the only way you'll be shit out of luck is if that DVD gets scratched somehow
Oh yeah.
or wrecked in some other way that's unwatchable. Otherwise, you'll have it to watch as long as you want, whenever you want.
Indeed. And I regret having thrown all those DVDs I had years back. But I can always rebuy them again. They're still in stock on some parts of the internet, so it's no big deal. As long as there's like a market out there on the internet, especially selling DVDs and able to produce DVDs, whether legal or illegal, by all means, go for it. It's ridiculous that these companies are converting from physical media completely over to digital media with no boundaries of like consumer rights being protected from buying these digital products, whether it's video games, wrestling shows, movies, TV shows, you name it. Because I don't want to spend like $100 or $75 on a 6 movie Star Wars film collection on Amazon's Prime Video website or Prime Video streaming services, and then a year, 2 years later, they just get rid of all of those of your DVD, not DVD, your collections of Star Wars movies like that. It just doesn't make any sense, you know.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, if you're afraid, just shows what can happen if you buy movies, TV shows, games, whatever from a digital storefront. It'd be better to take that money and get it physically.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With games, it's different because even while retro games are fine, and like even PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii U games are fine, it doesn't help you so much now because if you buy the physical game for PS4 or PS5 or Xbox Series, that disc might just be a coaster.
Yeah, best. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, there's really nothing else that can be done with games except enjoy the games of the past. because, like I said, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 is a perfect example. When that game came out, all that was on the disc was the park editor. You had to download the rest of the game from the internet, even if you bought the game physically.
That was fucked up on their part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, ready to move on?
And even with the park editor on Tony Hawk's 5, were you able to play at least competitively online with other players or offline in a split screen?
Nope. All you were able to do was probably play the park editor and yeah, I think you could play like you in your own park that you created, but no, if you wanted to play competitively against any other players, you had to download the entire game.
Well, that's stupid. It's pointless to the physical at the time. You might as well just give
Yeah.
it sell out digitally at a cheaper price.
Yep.
All right.
But that's what they want, so they can control it.
Always control.
Ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right. Next, Jurassic Park Survival is a stunning first-person adventure set right after the first film. Jurassic Park fans got a nice surprise during the Game Awards with the reveal of a new game called Jurassic Park Survival. The cinematic trailer shows a young woman named Dr. Maya Joshi, an InGen scientist left behind on Isla Nublar in the immediate aftermath of the first film, one day after the park collapses, in fact. Players explore the open world of Isla Nublar, which teams with a variety of newly escaped dinosaurs in a fully reactive world. Stealth seems to be more emphasized than combat, as players must use their intelligence, skills, and wit to outsmart and avoid John Hammond's prehistoric creations. Jurassic Park Survival has no release window, but it's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So, is Jurassic Park Survival a game that you would be interested in?
Is that the same as once was 25 years ago when they came out with those rail shooters back in the 90s and all? Those are good Jurassic Park games right there. Especially the one.
No, but yeah, they said stealth is going to be more valued than combat.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea when it comes to Jurassic Park. I want the full on action, 6 shooter, 5 shooter, go up against amphibians and T Rexes and double T Rexes and camouflage dinosaurs like Catechatosaurus or whatever they call themselves. That type of shit. Boss battles. Those are good boss battles in that game. Jurassic Park. It's called Jurassic Park, the rail shooting game from the 1997 release. It was on the.
Okay, I don't remember. What system was that for?
It was an arcade edition. That's what
Oh,
the
okay.
arcade. It was this big giant like fucking Jeep style type of arcade machine you walk into or go into, and surround sound and shit. The curtains closed, dark as fuck in there. But when you turn on the game, you could hear all this T Rex screaming and bullets shooting while in the game playing. All it was awesome, man. I was playing that for years on and off up until 2004 or 5 when they stopped. That's when live stream got rid of this arcade and the Greater Small Valley Stream and the Greater Small Valley Stream location. They got rid of the arcade machine in the mid 2000s. It sucked, It was such a good experience being that kind of atmosphere of those arcade style type of gameplay, and I never played it since. But back then, of course, it was very interactive. If you had the Sega Saturn, the rail shooter gun, and maybe a rumble pack, whatever, it's awesome experience.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite Jurassic Park game was the one that came out on the 360 about 10 years ago. It was where you controlled a few different people. Like this woman and her partner were trying to get like dinosaur embryos because they were worth a lot of money. Meanwhile, like a father was on the island with his daughter, and they had to get off the island when they became hostages. So, something like this could work. I'm just wondering, is there a way to get off the island, or what's going to be the end game? Is it to escape from the island?
Yeah.
But it sounds interesting.
It could be a scenario like the once was in Jurassic Park 3, the movie, for the 2001 release of the
Yeah,
movie.
well, they said this is going to take place one day after the first movie.
Okay, so Jurassic Park. So it's basically a prequel to Jurassic Park Lost World, was Jurassic Park 2, and the sequel to Jurassic Park, the first movie, pretty much.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So it sounds interesting. So when it comes out, if you're a fan of, but be warned, it is a stealth game. So if you're more, if you like shooter games more or combat games more, you might not like this one.
Oh yeah. They managed to re-release the that Jurassic Park arcade game I mentioned earlier. That'd be nice to see that on the Xbox Series, PS5, PC.
Yeah, especially with VR, they could make it pretty close to like what the arcade experience.
Yeah, you get the headphones, the surround sound headphones, like the top notch ones from like
Yeah.
that cost like $500. Man, that's awesome.
Well, like if you're using the VR headset like that Sony has, I mean, it'd be almost,
Definitely.
ready to move on.
Yeah, ready.
All right. Next, the ESA has announced that E3 is officially dead. The Entertainment Software Association has announced that its long-running Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3, is officially dead, as reported by the Washington Post. The last in-person E3 conference happened in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic, and other complications prevented it from coming back in full form since. Despite struggles, the ESA attempted to bring E3 back in various ways. It was canceled in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. The 2021 E3 was an all-digital event. The 2022 show was canceled, and this year's attempt with PAX organizer ReedPop was canned too. After more than 2 decades of hosting an event that has served as a central showcase for the US and global video game industry, the Entertainment Software Association has decided to bring E3 to a close. ESA President and CEO Stanley Pierre Lewis told the Washington Post, "We know the entire industry, players and creators alike, have a lot of passion for E3. We share the passion. We know it's difficult to say goodbye to such a beloved event, but it's the right thing to do given the new opportunities our industry has to reach fans and partners." Pierre Lewis told the Washington Post that E3's closure means video games and the surrounding business has blossomed in different ways, noting that any of the major game companies could create their own individual showcases. He's likely alluding to the former popularized by Nintendo with its Nintendo Directs, with which other publishers like Xbox and PlayStation utilize now. That's exciting for our industry. It means it's an opportunity for them to explore how to engage new audience in different ways. For a recap of history E3, read the story here. For a look at the event's recent cancellation, read it here. So, what do you think of E3 basically being announced as dead?
It was expected for the last couple of years at least now, and
Yeah,
especially since the pandemic like carried this huge blow to the industry of E3 and all by itself. At first, it was like it was a realization to like to the companies of like Nintendo, Sony, Xbox and all. They'll need E3 back in 2020, 2021 to do these events in person or over on the internet, especially. And the pandemic proved that. The pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic created a lot of different change in dynamics of all industries, from airlines to video games, and even movies and TV shows. So it's kind of like it's the rise of independent entities have their own structured style of presentation to all new audiences or to recurrent audiences to their products or services. So it's this great awakening back in 2020 2022 of E3 and other game industries. It's like, hey, we don't need this E3 anymore. Like, screw E3. And then E3 just went down the hill after not even 5 years later, and now we see it. Now it's officially dead. And
yep.
It's rest in peace. And it'd be nice for newer, younger gamers to see the E3 experience again. But even us gamers in the 30s and 40s, some of us never got a chance to go to E3 because it's that exclusive to certain members of the gaming community or the gaming industry. Because E3 is meant for developers, press, tech support workers, tech users, or a tech marketing company stakes that matter for these events, while the public can only see it through the E3 conferences on internet, TV, or radio, whatever it comes first. So
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you have memories of E3, cherish those memories because E3 is dead. But that's not to say these showcases are dead. It's just these showcases can now be done by any console developer or even game developer at any time. Whether it's the Game Awards or whether it's Nintendo Direct or companies were this when they tried to bring E3 back this year. Companies were pulling out left and right, saying they were just going to do their own showcase. Why they have to show off at E3?
yep,
So yeah, so I mean, it's a shame that the old one died, but didn't we say when Jeff Keighley because someone said E3's demise was responsible for Summer Games Fest, and didn't Jeff Keighley say that E3 is just doing things the old-fashioned way uh, when
yeah,
showcases like the Summer Games Fest is inventing new ways to reach players um, that players want to experience.
oh yeah,
Do you remember when we covered that?
indeed. And back 20 years ago, 15 years ago, not even, if you want to see the latest game coverage, you have to read the latest magazine, the latest TV commercial, trailer, etc., etc. But now, for the last 10 years now, the internet taking over a lot of stuff, and you don't need TV anymore or a segment on TV to broadcast this information of gaming anymore. So,
Yeah. If you can excuse me for a minute, I'm just going to get some iced tea and then we'll continue.
oh, definitely. But yeah, guys, E3 definitely has changed over the years, and it's the point where it's like it's inevitable. It was inevitable from the start of it all. One day, if ever, they might do like a special rundown of all the E3 events from like the 1990s into the 2010s, and then that'd be a special E3 event of itself, and that's about it after that, if ever. So we'll wait for Triple J to come back, and then we'll start the show again. See you guys. Oh boy. Let's play some music in the background too while I'm at it.
I might have to take my dog out later.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, I'm back. Ready to move on?
Yeah, ready.
All right. Next. The day before Dev, Fantastic is shutting down just days after early access launch. Um, let's see. This is the update. I want original story. Here we go. I'll read the original story, then I'll read the update. Fantastic, the studio behind the day before, is shutting down. It announced the closure today on December 11th with a statement that arrives 4 days after the day before launch into early access on December 7th. The studio says servers for the day before will remain operational, but it also says at this moment the future of the game and its 2021 release prop night are unknown. Fantastic opened in 2015. Its first game was The Wild 8, released in 2017. Today we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man hours into the development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaign. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. At the moment, the future of the day before and prop night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. The statement also listed scheduled releases over the years, as you can see above. The day before launched into early access last week on December 7th. As reported by IGN, the game peaked at 38,104 concurrent users at launch on Steam, but today that number is down to 4,197 players, according to SteamDB. In those 4 days, the day before received enough negative reviews from players to place it into the 10 worst reviewed games on Steam. Over the years, the day before has been the subject of controversy, ranging from requests for volunteer work, various delays, broken promises, and more. Oddly, Fantastic has scrubbed its entire YouTube channel, leaving the following note as its channel's description. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years. Now, here's the update to that story. Fantastic, the studio behind the day before announced yesterday that it was shutting down. It said at the time that the servers for the game, which launched last week, would remain operational, but that the future of the day before is unknown. Now, less than 24 hours later, the day before is no longer available for purchase on Steam, although you can still visit the page. Plus, anyone who purchased the game is eligible for a refund according to Fantastic. Answer to those who ask for a refund, a Fantastic tweet reads, we and publisher Myrona are currently working with Steam to allow refunds for any player who chose to request one, regardless of the game time. Fantastic received $0 and will receive nothing from the day before sales. Notably, Steam allows users to refund games if they played it for less than 2 hours and it hasn't been more than 14 days since the purchase date. Myrona, however, is offering refunds to anyone who purchased the day before. Myrona also posted the following statement on Twitter. To all the day before players, as the investor of the day before, we would like to provide some updates on the current situation around the game. We are sorry for the fact that the game didn't meet expectations of the majority of the players. Today, we will work with Steam to open up refunds for any players who choose to make a refund. We're in contact with Fantastic regarding the future of the game. Did you hear about this game? Because some ordinary gamers on YouTube talked about it.
Yeah, I heard about it for the last several days or now weeks now. People said it was a scam because the company got shut down a couple days after the release of the game, and it held back the release of the game for a few weeks or not a few months. That's why the reason why they got bankrupt because they supposed to release it sometime earlier this year or sometime earlier this year actually instead of right now. So, and then since they've released it, they couldn't get the money backlog into their revenue, so they went out of business with all the mishaps going on in that company. So it's at first it looks like they're getting to play on the hype or whatever it was, but then when I saw the gameplay of it by Moist Critical, I think it was his name. If I saw his gameplay, it was very glitchy, the game itself, and it's like it wasn't all that great. Looks like it. So I guess you could say that, and it was delisted from Steam as well. Last time I checked as well, so no one can't buy the game after that.
Yeah, the game's unpurchasable now. But I saw the one big problem was like in 2021 the trailers or the gameplay footage showed what the people were hoping, but when they got the game in 2023, it was basically everything they were sold on was not in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the game has huge glitches, like soldiers appearing gigantic. And if you shoot it, this giant soldier body flies up in the air, like a Macy's Day Parade float. So it's basically, this game was a disaster. And basically, a lot of the people who bought the game feel like they've been lied to.
AKA,
So it's I hate to say it, but it sounds like it couldn't happen to a nicer studio. Are you saying Fantastic didn't know this the state of the game when they released it?
That's nonsense.
If they had something this broken, they should have just canceled the game.
At best, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
they're trying to make up for revenue, and that's why they have to release it, see what happens after that. Because they're going to get bankrupt anyway by whatever their practices were in that company. They're going to try to make up for the losses as much as possible to their debtors and creditors.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, if you would, yeah. So if you want to, if you were unfortunate enough to purchase this game and you want a refund, it doesn't matter how long you played it or how many days it's been since you purchased it. Uh, you you'll still be eligible for a refund if you want one.
That's good.
And maybe more game developers should be more honest next time.
And this wasn't even crowdfunded, I hear, too. It was basically an actual game in development by default. So it's not like some, preview slash early access, next to access type of game or pre alpha build, you know?
Right.
So I'll get
Yep.
their budget and their time and money.
Yep. I mean, it's bad when a game developer or a development company is asking for volunteers to help.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. I'm excited about this next one. This next story.
Okay.
Sega is returning to some of its best games. Tonight during the Game Awards, Sega announced it had numerous remakes and new projects in development, including some of its coolest and most unique games. Announced via a sizzle reel showing off in development footage, Sega revealed it was working on remakes of Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, and more. No announcement info was given. Sega announced it was planning numerous remakes last year via IGN. Um, so, yeah, how do you feel about Sega remaking some of its best games like Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, Streets of Rage, etc.?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the graphics of 2023 of today with games like
Yep.
Crazy Taxi or Mortal Kombat 1, shit like that,
Yeah. Maybe not Mortal Kombat. I don't know if that's a Sega property.
Right, I forgot about that.
But like Crazy Taxi, I'd love to see like the graphics of 2023 because Crazy Taxi, it was what last released like early in the Xbox 360 life cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So if imagine a beautiful open world flying by at 90 miles per hour. Um, you know, I love Crazy Taxi. Was one of my favorite games on the Dreamcast. I got it on the Xbox One now. Um, so that Shinobi. When was the last time we had a Shinobi game?
At least 25 years, to my awareness.
Was it Shinobi 3: Return of the Ninja Master, like one of the last ones?
I don't remember the exact title or the exact entry or time of entry of the latest Shinobi game, but it's definitely got to be the Super Nintendo era.
Well, I think there was one for Sega Saturn,
Okay.
so that might have been it. Yeah, but I mean, Shinobi before that one on the Sega Saturn anyway. Um, that's been a fan favorite. Some while I never cared about it, Jet Set Radio. That was a lot of people love Jet Set Radio. Um, so yeah, the fact that Sega's returning to some of its beloved properties, Streets of Rage is another one. I have the
Mm-hmm.
Streets of Rage Sega trilogy on my Xbox One. The fact that Sega's returning to these properties that people still love even all these years later, even if they've been dormant, I'm all for it. Even if they have to release it on, there's probably never going to be a Dreamcast 2, unfortunately, or a Super Dreamcast. But, release it on Xbox, at least,
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if Sony will or Nintendo will allow it. Nintendo probably. I'm not sure about Sony. Um, but yeah, I'd love to see Sega return to some of its properties and make games with modern graphics today.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome. Ready to move on?
Now I'm ready.
All right. So next, Marvel's Blade is coming from the makers of Deathloop and Dishonored.
Mm.
Arcane has announced that it's jumping into the Marvel Universe by announcing a video game based on Blade. The title, aptly named Marvel's Blade, is coming from Arcane Lion, the team behind Deathloop and the Dishonored series, in collaboration with Marvel Games. Announced on Blade's 50th anniversary, the game is described as a single player, mature rated third person action adventure game set in Paris. The city has been plagued with vampires, so it's up to you to put a stop to it. Though it will feature plenty of action, it's described as a very arcane game, so fans are potentially expected to have several of the studio's signature immersive sim hallmarks. Marvel's Blade has no release date or platform. Have you ever played any of the Blade of games based on Blade?
Unfortunately, no. I did. Well, I have the Blade trilogy with Wesley Snipes in them, but the movies themselves, obviously. But that's about it so far. I have that collection.
Okay. There was a PlayStation game. I never got far into it. That was based on Blade. So it's based. So this sounds awesome. I wish there was more that we know. But you played the Dishonored games, right?
I played the first hour with Dishonored on the 360 last time I checked. Yeah,
All right. Well, they're the ones making this game. So
nice. All right.
yeah. If you're a fan of Dishonored, you probably like the new Blade game coming. I'm interested. Just because we haven't, Blade is one of those superheroes that we don't really hear a lot from. When it's a new game, it's always based on like Captain America or Wolverine or um, Hulk or Blade is always like back in the background,
Yeah.
just getting like
The only time it has shine to light, has time in the light was with the movies, the Blade trilogies. That's about it, to my awareness. So
yeah. So if they're making a game based on Blade, I'm all for it. Even if I won't be able to play it, it sounds great.
oh yeah, and it sucks that Blade never was well mentioned back in the 2000s and all when it was even if it was in theaters and all. And then you also had other notable black superheroes like Static Shock. Like he should have been like a crossover with Static Shock as well, but that's be DC related matters with the matter Static Shock. So you might see a crossover between those two black characters, Blade and Static Shock, but that's not happening anytime soon until someone reinvigorates the proposals of these characters, because that's all it did back in the 2000s was just like had the Blade the movies and Static Shock the TV shows, and after that it was just some other superhero shows like Mighty Max, not Mighty Max, Max something, Max Enhancer, where he has his enhanced suit and his name is Max and all. It's not called Mighty Max or Maximus or whatever, but it's some Max show, whatever. That's the only thing I could think of that was pulled into mainstream, and that's based off from scratch. That character, that superhero. So
All right.
yeah, I know it's like I know I'm like very fuzzy with my memory. It's been 30 years or 24 years I haven't seen those episodes, but all I can think of was like the guy who had his power suit on when he's in trouble, and he just goes like fucking like superhero mode on everyone and just like dominates the scene, shit like that.
Yes. So, as we hear more about this game, we'll report as we find it out. Ready to move on?
Oh yeah, I definitely will try to get the anime version of Blade as well. That I was good at anime as a Blade as well too. Check him out on anime. It's like $10 on Amazon for like 20 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it while I was in the hospital back in 2012, 2013. I watched the Wolverine anime, and I also watched the Blade anime. And they were connected somehow, some way through the Marvel universe. Obviously, it was made by Marvel's companies, respectively. So
Okay.
yeah.
Next story. FTC is still trying to block the Xbox and Activision merger. The deal was originally closed in October, over a year after its original announcement. Maybe the employees should get a hobby like stamp collecting or crocheting or knitting or something. Just when we thought Microsoft's Activision acquisition was finally set in stone 2 months ago, it looks like the Federal Trade Commission has made another appeal to block Master Chief and uh, John Call of Duty's marriage. Reuters' story on the situation says the FTC lawyer, Ahiyad, argued in front of a three-judge appeals court panel in California on Wednesday, December 6th, that original attempts to block the deal were held at too high a standard by requiring the government agency to prove the deal was anti-competitive. According to Ayad, the inherent monopoly risk that comes with giant corporations buying each other should be apparent, and Microsoft has already kept Bethesda's games like Redfall and Starfield exclusive to PC and Xbox after its acquisition in 2021, but that wasn't enough to stop the deal going through in the EU and Britain. I fail to understand how giving somebody a monopoly of something would be pro-competitive, I said during the hearing, according to CNN. It may be a benefit to see some class of consumers, but that is very different than saying it is pro-competitive. Microsoft lawyer Rakesh Kalaru argued that the case was weak and that the FTC hadn't adequately proven that Microsoft had any incentive to make games like Call of Duty exclusive. Reuters said the judge questioned both attorneys as well as Ayad's claims that there was more evidence to look over after Microsoft had entered agreements with Sony to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation platforms. Two antitrust scholars who listened to the appeal and spoke to Reuters said the FTC would be facing an uphill battle in this last-ditch effort to block the merger, with former FTC General Counsel Aidan Abbott comparing the FTC's case to accusing a court of ignoring key evidence presented by a witness. I gotta say, it would be deeply funny if Microsoft had to walk back its terrible merger celebration video, like the big business equivalent of having to change your Facebook relationship status mere months after you changed it to married. However, given that other territories have signed off on the acquisition, I have a hard time seeing this appeal being the one that finally cuts it off at the knees. The deal was originally announced in 2022 and has become a key discussion point in the video game industry's continued consolidation. Microsoft has been throwing a lot of money around to grow its first party studios. The acquisition has longtime Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, who was a key figure in the company's 2021 workplace harassment scandal, leaving his position in 2024. So, what do you think of our government dollars at work, basically? The FTC still trying to block this Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger.
Well, they're very persistent FTC, and I don't know what's wrong with them, but it's always over. It's you can't. They fucked up at the FTC. They messed up on their evidence or their claims, and Sony had the leg up or the upper hand in the matter, and necessarily was it Activision and Microsoft. They said they had the leg up understanding of the case at hand, and that's it. I don't know what the FTC is going to do about it after right now. It's already been dealt with. It's been months now since the closure of the deal, right? So it's
it was approved. I mean, so it's and as far as Redfall and Starfield being exclusive to PC and Xbox, those weren't made by Activision Blizzard. That was made by Microsoft.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this lawyer is smoking. I don't know what the FTC is smoking. Send some over here.
Please, I need to relieve my pain from this.
But and every studio that makes a game in house has the right to keep it to their consoles if they want. Starfield and Redfall was not part of the acquisition. It was it's games Microsoft made itself. So the fact if he's trying to prove a monopoly out of that fact, then that can be applied to any other console developer. So I don't know. Honestly, like I said, they need to get a hobby because they're arguing something and they don't even have the evidence to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
What next? Are we gonna go after Nintendo for keeping Mario games on Nintendo platforms only?
See, I try to tell the younger gamers who are like under 25. I keep saying they want everything connected to their device and all, from the Xbox, the PlayStation, the cell phones, the tablet, the everything. And it's like, what's the point of all these devices after a while? Because it's like, you're not really they serve no exact distinct purpose anymore after a while. I try to tell these guys, like, you stop merging, putting everything together into one device or one set of devices, because then what's the point of, like, exclusivity? What's the point of buying the game on these consoles? It's, I don't understand them.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, get a hobby: stamp collecting, crocheting, staring at the wall, anything.
Yeah, stare at the wall is best
FTC.
sometimes. Play
Um,
some Hansel, like hallelujah, hallelujah. Just do something. Something spiritual. You lose
or if you
your
want to do something, play Find My Brain, where they look for
five
each other's brains.
five my prayer.
I got a game the FTC can play. It's called Get a Clue.
I like power, but if you can't control the power, then sucks to be you.
Yeah, so I mean, the FTC, it's basically, I don't know, maybe they got butthurt when they couldn't stop it in October, um, and maybe this is them lashing out at some ditch effort, trying to get some credibility back.
Man, needs some
But
preparation H for that butt hurt.
yeah, but Redfall and Starfield were first party Microsoft games. They weren't Activision Blizzard. So if you're going to go after Microsoft for that, you can go after Nintendo for keeping their Mario games on Nintendo platforms. You could go after Sony for keeping God of War games on the PlayStation platforms. It just turns into a big mess, basically.
Yeah, make sure you get some baby wipes for that butt hurt too.
So, ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on. Hey, please move on, FTC.
Yeah, please. 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks are the latest Embracer studios to be hit with layoffs. Layoffs hit the Duke Nukem and Graven developers. Embracer Group has once again conducted a round of layoffs, with Duke Nukem creator 3D Realms and Ghost Runner co-developer Slipgate Ironworks being hit, per post on social media by former employees. Employees at both studios took to Twitter to reveal that they had been laid off from their jobs, including Michael Markey, a lead composer at both studios, and Patrick Hewitt, a 3D artist. Scott Miller, the founder of 3D Realm, said in a post that he had several sources tell him that layoffs were happening, particularly at the 3D Realms headquarters in Denmark. This one hits me hard because I worked with the new 3DR from 2014 up until they were bought out by Embracer 2.5 years ago, Miller wrote. It's currently unclear how many people were affected, but Miller wrote that he heard half the company had been laid off. They got the tweets. In a statement sent to IGN, an Embracer Group spokesperson said the company does not comment on rumors or speculation. When asked about the recent layoffs at 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks, they added they were in the midst of a comprehensive restructuring program, which could include the closing of studios and termination of projects. You can read the full statement below. The studio was founded in 1987 by Miller as Apogee Software before being renamed a few years later. It's best known for creating the Duke Nukem series. The studio was acquired by Embracer Group subsidiary Saber Interactive in 2021. When Slipgate Ironworks was founded in 2010, some games the studio worked on included 2020's Ghost Runner, which it co-developed with One More Level, and Graven, an early access fantasy-themed first-person game, is set to receive a full release early next year. Like 3D Realms, Embracer acquired the studio in 2021. These layoffs are only the latest for Embracer Group this year alone, after a deal worth $2 billion fell through. Last month, Embracer revealed that over 900 staff were laid off as part of the restructure. Other Embracer-owned studios that faced layoff this year include Campfire Cabbage, Frontier Developments, and Free Radical Design. In the case of Free Radical Design, the creator behind Time Splitters, the studio closed its doors earlier this week. Embracer-owned studio Deep Silver revived Free Radical in 2021 after initially went defunct in the late 2000s. The revived Free Radical design was tasked with creating a new installment in the Time Splitters franchise. So, what do you think of the Duke Nukem studio, or the studio responsible for Duke Nukem, uh, facing layoffs?
Well, they fucked up on the Duke Nukem game back in 2011. So even if it was 10 years ago the game came out,
Yep.
there was like several studios upon several studios, on top of each other, making that game to fruition. So whatever the kind of corners they were doing back then, they started to affect them 10 years later. But they did release some other games too over the last 10 years too, right? Triple J, Pity Realms, no?
Yeah, I'm. Uh, let me pull it up again. I can see if there's more. Because they basically said it's the studio behind Duke Nukem and Graven. I don't remember the game Graven.
Right, right.
But let's see. Every notable Embracer Group acquisition. Oh, okay. Those are just no. 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 So basically, they don't have it like I thought they did.
Okay. Yeah, the only game I can think of is Duke Nukem
That list
Pity
I thought
Realms.
they had was just every studio Embracer Group owns. But
Okay. Yeah, the Duke Nukem
yeah,
definitely been a
so
big blow.
Duke Nukem really has been dead since 2011.
Yep.
Ever since Duke Nukem Forever was a fail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just sucks that all these people, like that, a bunch of people losing their jobs and basically reaching out on Twitter to anyone who like can use their talents, hoping to be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that just seems to be a common thread in the gaming industry. Every 2 weeks now, it's at least one studio has to lay off some certain number of people.
It never ends. It's always trying to find corners to cut.
Anything else to say, or ready to move on?
Can you hear me right now, Triple J?
Hello.
Triple J, can you hear me? Triple J, can you hear me loud and clear?
Dr. Games 101, you there?
Mic check 1, 2. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Can you hear me right now, Triple J? Triple J, can you hear me?
Hold on, technical difficulties.
Mic check 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. Mic check 1, 2. Hello, hello. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me right now, Triple J?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, let me start my audio. It keeps screwing itself up. I'm not sure why.
Okay. All right, so ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on. Ready when you are.
Hello?
Can you hear me right now? Hello, hello. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Now we can hear you.
I don't know what's going on. It just keeps disconnecting itself.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah, you can hear me loud and clear right now?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. We're almost done,
Okay.
right? So,
We only got 4 more stories left.
no problem.
Hideo Kojima is making a new game called OD with Jordan Peele. Hideo Kojima, the director behind Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding, and Jordan Peele, the director of movies such as Get Out, and Note are making a new cloud-based project for Xbox Game Studios called OD. Announced tonight during the Game Awards, the project also stars Sophia Lillis, IH, and Hunter Schafer, Euphoria. In typical Kojima fashion, the trailer doesn't illuminate much. We see several characters reading and sometimes failing to do so. A tongue twister before Lillis' character screams in horror at what they see behind the door. Talking on stage, Kojima was joined by Peel to mostly compliment each other's work. However, Kojima stressed OD's in fact a game, but it's also a movie, and apparently something unlike much else. Or so he says. Peel said it was crazy. I took the plot after a while. Anyways, check it out for yourself. OD isn't the only project Kojima is working on. His studio, Kojima Productions, is also developing a sequel to Death Stranding. Do you want me to play the trailer to OD?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Because I have no idea what to say about this.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started bending and quacking.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox,
Well, you guys said, look at that.
jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started bending and quacking.
Well, you guys said, look at that.
The hungry
What the hell?
dinosaurs ate the kind
Pat Conno from the UK?
the jabbering crab
What the hell?
and the mad whale and started bending and
Pat Conno from the UK?
Okay, Dr. Games 101, you want to go first?
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say either.
I honestly know gameplay of it. I just see two people. One is young, and one is old, and just what she screamed at the end. And that's about it. And all I got to say is like, okay.
Yeah, they all had to do with for some reason they were all trying to say a tongue twister.
The purple dinosaur, pretty much. Yeah, Barney. I mean, Barney can be a fucking horror beast at the end, but like, come on now.
Yeah, so it's weird. We just have nothing to say because we don't know what to make of that trailer.
I mean, I know Kojima's behind it, so you know it's gonna be something interesting to play on in the future.
So, I mean, I'm interested because Hideo Kojima usually does good on his games, but as more comes, ready to move on.
I just want to say though that I know Kojima's behind this matter, so it's guaranteed it might be a good game to play. So, if you did good in Metal Gear Solid, if you did good in Death Stranding and other games from the 1990s and all, it's well worth it right now to look at his work for this one. You know?
Yep.
I'm ready to move on.
All right. That wasn't much to go on though.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark reboot delayed once again, this time by over 2 months to avoid crunch. The Alone in the Dark reboot is delayed from January 16th to March 20th, 2024, publisher THQ Nordic has announced, citing the well-being of its developer. In a statement, THQ Nordic said hitting the planned January release date would have put developer Pieces Interactive under immense stress during the holiday period. This year is coming to an end, and the Christmas holidays are upon us, the publisher said. However, until today, it didn't seem that way for Pieces Interactive, the team developing our upcoming survival horror game, Alone in the Dark. With our initially planned release date in January 2024, the Christmas season would have been filled with stress and anything but a jolly time for them. Therefore, THQ Nordic and Pieces Interactive have decided to give Alone in the Dark a new release date on March 20th, 2024. The well-being of the teams is a top priority, and both companies want to avoid any potential crunch over the Christmas holidays. Furthermore, THQ Nordic and Pieces not only meets but exceeds the expectations of the community, especially with the outstanding performances of Hollywood stars David and Jodie as the main protagonists. We understand that many people are eagerly awaiting the release, but your patience will be scare the living daylights out of you on March 20th, 2024. This isn't the first time THQ Nordic has delayed Alone in the Dark. In September, the publisher delayed the reboot from October 25th, 2023 to January
Mic check.
15th. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
October 25th, 2023 to January 16th, 2024, in a bid to avoid heavy hitters such as Insomniac's PlayStation 5 exclusive Spider-Man 2. Alone in the Dark will release for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S when it eventually comes out. In IGN's Alone in the Dark preview, we said, in all, the team and motivation seem like to deliver an exciting take on a classic of horror gaming. I'm looking forward to learning more about Alone in the Dark as we get closer to release, and you can bet I'm downloading the free prologue Waste in the Dark right now. So, what do you think about Alone in the Dark being delayed again?
I think I've heard of Alone in the Dark before. That's a TV show at one point, right?
They did have a movie based in the 2000s, and I think it was a game like in the PS2 era.
Yeah, yeah. I remember we talked about this at least a month ago, right?
Yeah, it was delayed to so it didn't go head to head with Spider-Man 2 because
Yeah, that would be a big blow to Alone in the Dark. If it was released at the same time with Spider-Man 2.
yeah. So, but now it's being delayed till March. I understand they didn't want to stress the development team out during the holidays. So,
Yeah, let the development team do his due diligence to clean up the specs and polish the game a bit for 6 months the most. Because by the time January 2024 comes around, Tekken 8 will come out. So that's a big blow to Alone in the Dark as well. So they're like, let's move it to March, April, and May, give or take, and see what happens after that,
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, so now it's set for March. But I say give the developers the time they need.
Definitely.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, ready.
All right. Next. Grand Theft Auto 6 revealed with first official trailer alongside 2025 release year. We learned last week that Rockstar Games was going to release the first official trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 this week. It was set to release on Tuesday, December 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern, but after leaking online today, the team released the trailer early. In the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, the highly anticipated sequel to Grand Theft Auto 5, more than 10 years in the making, we get a glimpse at our dual protagonists, the setting of Vice City, and more alongside a 2025 release year. A press release from Rockstar Games says the game will launch on PS5 and Xbox Series with no mention of PC. As you can see from the trailer above, and we can watch it if you want, Grand Theft Auto is back and looking better than ever. The trailer begins with our first look at Lucia, one of the two main protagonists of Grand Theft Auto 6. She's seemingly incarcerated in the fictional Miami-inspired Vice City, first seen in 2002's Grand Theft Auto Vice City, although we're not in the 1980s anymore. We also get a look at the surrounding scenery, including beaches, a Florida Everglades-inspired area, neon-lit highways, clubs, and more. Oh, and there are giant alligators, too. Typical Florida stuff. There are hints at an in-world social media system akin to YouTube or TikTok, outdoorsy activities like mudding, car shows, and plenty of crime. We also get a look at the second protagonist of the game, although they remain unnamed. It seems Lucia and this male protagonist are involved romantically in some way, with Lucia saying in the trailer, the only way we're going to get through this is by sticking together, being a team. Trust? We then see the duo robbing a store of sorts before the trailer flashes the official Grand Theft Auto 6 logo, alongside 2025, indicating we're still ways off from playing this game. Do you want to watch the trailer?
That was all right. People already saw the trailer
Okay,
most likely. It's a well mentioned trailer right now. So
right. So, what do you think of Grand Theft Auto? Of what we know about Grand Theft Auto 6?
well, it looked like something of GTA 5, but way better. It's a bigger map. We were told it's confirmed that's going to be a bigger map than Los Santos. So because it's based off the GTA 6 mapping on the map of the game is based off of GTA Vice City from 2002 video game, but it's like at least several times bigger. So that's
Yeah,
more power to this new entry game of GTA right then and there. A very sexualized woman that's your main protagonist or antagonist, whichever one you want to put first, and then you play one or two playable characters. So that's not bad.
yeah. It's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde take on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, but in a modern approach, of course.
Yeah. Um, I'm unfortunately, since I don't have a PS5 or Xbox Series, that I'm not getting one. I won't be able to play it, but this sounds awesome. I like the idea of returning to Vice City because we haven't. It's a location that the Grand Theft Auto games have not visited um, in a
Definitely,
long time.
definitely.
Um, so it'd be nice to see what Vice City looks like 40 years after the events of Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah, it
Um,
makes to see Tyler for Sydney being part of the crew as well.
who?
Tyler Vercetti, the main character of Vice City from 2002.
Yeah, if he's still in the game,
He
I was
gotta
gonna
be.
wonder.
He has to be somehow, somewhere. Well, like they did with
Yeah, but he's also gonna be 40 years older. So if he was like 30 in Vice City, he'd be 70 now.
that's not bad. It's just like what was that guy? Fucking from GTA 3, Donald Love. He was in Vice City for a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Then also other character. What's his name in Tony Cipriani? Like he was.
Yep.
Well, no, he wasn't. He wasn't in Vice City. Never mind.
No, he
But
was in Liberty City Stores.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, if they could like connect the characters together somehow, swinging from Vice City to DJ 6, that'd be nice. See Donald Love again. This time he's a big mogul, super whatever. Because he moved from Liberty City in GTA 3 at the end of the missions you do for him. Because when you visit him for the last time, he's no longer in his high rise.
Yeah.
So basically, he can take that with a grain of salt, put that to GTA 6, and he comes back being at this big shot businessman taking over half of Vice City. You never know.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, because when he appeared in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, he was the assistant to Avery Carrington.
oh yeah, definitely,
That's like where Donald Love got his start.
definitely.
Um, yeah. So I mean, hey, maybe if Tommy Vercetti's there, maybe Diaz's matching will still be there. That'll be
Yeah, that'd be cool. And Tom Vercetti still have that mansion to himself.
yeah,
You see Tom Vercetti all drunk, and you think he's like a leader of his own like gang or a mafia, and he's like, "All right, bitch," to the main character of GTA 6, "You gotta work for me now." And it's like, I don't work for no one. It'd be like the nostalgia from the Diaz and Vercetti. Remember that monologue?
yep,
The dialogue between Versailles, like Versailles said, like, "Oh, I work for money," and the Diaz says, I want you to work for me now," and then Versailles says, "I want to work for money," and shut it.
I remember Diaz's craziness. Remember Diaz. Vercetti enters the mansion, and Diaz goes, eject, you piece of shit!" And then he shoots the VCR, and Vercetti walks in, and Diaz goes, "He's my favorite voodoo movie. It died. What else can I do?" And
Yep.
Vercetti goes, "It's probably not plugged in." Diaz goes, "What?" It turns out the VCR wasn't plugged in.
Yeah. Yeah. Today. Yeah. Try to play that today's world. The fuck, man. And people were like, "Oh my god, it's too violent."
Yeah, yeah. The man shot a VCR.
I might do the same thing too if I reach that age. If I was rich and have my own collection of many things, and especially that stuff, and and then I'll just shoot a VCR out of nowhere, and people be like, "What's wrong with you, Dr. Games? It's my favorite porno, hentai."
Okay. I think that was a few more details than we needed. But
Yes, I'm sorry,
yeah.
guys. I scared everyone now.
Anyway, back to Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm,
the sexy Grand
even
Theft
though
Auto 6. Yes.
even though I won't be able to play the game because I don't have the systems that it's coming out on. It's not announced for PC yet, so we don't know if it's coming out on PC. Um, but I'm still going to be interested in seeing gameplay footage. People are going to be streaming it and posting it on YouTube, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, I have nothing else to say. You want to move on to the final story for tonight?
Yeah, let's do some because GTA 6 got a lot more to answer for itself later on.
Okay. Next and last, Alan Wake's 2 seemingly dire sales don't paint the full picture. In true Alan Wake style, the story is murky. Earlier today, we reported on Sakana's monthly U.S. game sales report, which has Hogwarts Legacy and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 in a neck-and-neck battle for annual bestseller. A few other new games, such as Super Mario RPG, made their debuts in the top 20 as well last month. But a quick glance over the charts for November reveals a conspicuous missing entry. Where's Alan Wake 2? Did it really not sell well enough to break into the top 20? Should we all start panicking about Remedy now? Speaking to IGN, Sakana analyst Matt Piscatella explains why Alan Wake 2 didn't debut in the top 20 of Sakana's sales charts this month. It's largely an issue of data reporting. Sakana doesn't have data on every single sale for every single game. They can collect data from physical retailers and select digital data from publishers and storefronts who choose to supply it. As a result, while Sakana's data is extremely useful, in many cases it's incomplete. The best examples of this are Nintendo, which does not provide digital sales to Sakana at all, and Take-Two, which used to provide data but limited its input a few years ago. That's why you never see GTA 5 in the Sakana charts, despite its setting a solid 5 million copies per quarter worldwide. In Alan Wake's 2 case, there was no physical release, and its publisher Epic Games does not provide digital sales data to Sakana, so there's just no way for Sakana to tell us how well it sold. Piscatella did confirm that Alan Wake 2 ranked 147th on Xbox Series and 115th on PlayStation 5 in MAUs in November, but that doesn't tell us too much. We can supplement that with a bit more data from Ampere analyst Piers Harding Woles, though, to get a clearer picture. Ampere estimates that globally, just on console, Alan Wake 2 sold 850,000 copies as of the end of November. It's a bit tricky to tell given the limitations of both these data sets, but if you feel like that seems like a touch low for a major AAA game that was widely anticipated and is reviewing phenomenally, well, it is, and it isn't. Remedy's last offering, Control, sold 2 million units in the first year. You could argue that Control is doing better because of its physical release, but in that same period, Remedy reported that only 10% of the game sales were digital. So physical wasn't doing a ton of heavy lifting in the first place, and Alan Wake 2 skipping the expensive process of a physical edition entirely could have saved Remedy more money than it would have made. So is Alan Wake 2 really selling poorly? It's still hard to say even with these pieces of data. 850,000 copies on console, sans PC isn't bad. And if you assume that even just a few 100,000 PC players, sales could be within reach of Control's one-year milestone. Still, Control was a new IP where Alan Wake is supposedly a beloved cult classic, riding on Control's stellar coattails. It would make sense for Remedy to have higher hopes for its success. But as with Control, perhaps word of mouth over the next year will keep Alan Wake 2 in the zeitgeist longer than most games and make it a sales success. We asked Remedy for a comment, but the studio has yet to respond. So, what do you think of sales? Do you really think it's incomplete data, or do you think it's something else?
Alan Wake 2 just started to release like about at least a month ago, right? So it's still a
Yeah.
month. Of course, you want the initial sales to be at least a good 500,000, maybe at best, maybe 3/4 of a million of a copies in 1 or 2 weeks, like that of that with Shenmue and GTA and other games out there for the last how many decades so far. But Alan Wake 2 was a lackluster, partially speaking, meaning that based on the game and what I found about the game overall from like listening to other people on YouTube and all, they're saying that, well, just from one YouTuber, they say that like, oh, it's Alan Wake is in the game obviously, but they focus too much on the black female police officer too much. That's why it wasn't as received greatly by other fans of the Alan Wake franchise or Alan Wake cult fans. So that's why it wasn't as successful as the first Alan Wake. Well, for sure, over time, for the next several weeks, months, maybe, it will maintain sales overall, but it won't be as big as the first Alan Wake game, or even American Nightmare. So,
Yeah. I agree. But the thing is, also, not only is Alan Wake 2 not selling physically, which is hurting sales, which honestly I'm a little glad to see, as selfish as it may be. Um, it's people are also. This is kind of the game that people are saying, uh, do we move into an all digital future now, or can we hold it off? Alan Wake 2 is that kind of. Unfortunately, Alan Wake 2 is that kind of game when it didn't get a physical release. So it's kind of like people are digging their heels in, maybe not because of anything to do with the game per se, content wise, but they don't want to support it because it's moving. Because if they support it, they're supporting an all digital future, which people don't want. Gaming Off the Grid even said they're boycotting Alan Wake 2. They're not going to play it because they don't want to buy it digitally. They said if it ever comes out physically, we'll buy it, but we're not going to support it digitally.
oh, yeah.
So that's another story, and that's the thing that I wanted to bring up that we were talking about before. Games moving into an all digital future. It's like I said, I disagree with Review Tech USA or anyone else who says that it's already here. No, it's not yet. But like if Alan Wake 2 was selling like gangbusters, all digitally, um, then we would be moving towards an all digital future. We're not there yet, and I think Alan Wake 2 is going to sell less than the other games. And that one, and thing is, everyone wants to see out what Alan Wake goes through. I mean, no one cares about the supporting cast. If he has a supporting cast, fine. He had a supporting cast of a couple characters in American Nightmare, but
Yeah.
the focus was still on Alan Wake and Mr. Scratch, Alan Wake's doppelganger, who was the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
The first Alan Wake had people there too. He had the cop that started to believe him. He had his agent. He had the guys who owned that old farm. He had the I think there was like a doctor in the mental institution that Alan Wake was sent to. Um, so it's a fun. So it's but yeah, well, I didn't know that the black woman had a bigger story arc or just as big as Alan Wake 2, which is also a mistake. They should have saved her story for like DLC or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people want to see more Alan Wake. They give them Alan Wake and give them a option to buy it physically. But yeah. So the whole reason I wanted to cover this was because, like I said, whether or not we were moving into an all digital future 5 months from now or 5 years from now, most people were making this game saying if this game sells well, all digital, then it's going to happen sooner than later. Honestly, I think enough people woke up and said we're not supporting it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm kind of glad that for a AAA game, it's not selling. Maybe a year or two now they'll release the game physically, and then all those people who held out can buy it physically,
Oh, yeah.
even if the disc is just a coaster. Um, but yes, I think that's the story behind the low sales.
Oh, definitely. That's a factor where if you're not selling physically, people will be like, okay, I'm not buying it at all. Pretty much after that. So.
Right. So yeah. So I think that's another thing working against Alan Wake 2's future, or Alan Wake 2's sales. Um, it's just not performing well, and honestly, like I said, if it releases physically, most of those people that are holding out on buying this game would buy it then.
And or if they include more Alan Wake in the game itself with Alan Wake 2, that would be great because they focus more too much on the black woman. That's what people say in the gameplay of it. So
Yeah, I mean, come on, Alan Wake is the story. I mean, if you wanted the Black Woman and Alan Wake to be in the same adventure and to be like partners with each other, that's fine. But you, with a game titled Alan Wake, you gotta focus on Alan Wake's adventure. I mean,
yeah. I'll call it the Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake and Friends. It sounds sketchy. Sounds like a fucking fucking Barney adventures, but whatever.
yeah, but I mean, people. Like I said, most people that were buying this game were buying it because of the Alan Wake name. Until it broke that Alan Wake 2 was going to be digital only. So you focus on Alan Wake 2. Like I said, the cop woman could have been the supporting cast. She could have been, or have her just an Alan Wake story. Have her be I don't know if they still have Alan Wake's agent, Barry, but if he's not in the game, have her, be basically around Alan Wake the whole time as he's going through his next adventure, or it's ridiculous that they tried to focus on someone else when they were trying to sell the game based on Alan Wake.
Yeah, I don't understand that move on their part as those game makers. I think it's because the fact that they want to try to expand the audience, which is a very risky move on their part. Because Alan Wake is surrounded by Alan Wake's dilemma. Alan Wake's is man versus himself dilemma, in a
Yeah,
sense. So
yeah, his own creations basically coming back, and you know what? That was a great story in its own. People just wanted another story that they could play through Alan Wake. I mean, what's so complicated to understand about that?
and they've been doing that with the race swap and the many characters and many IPs over the last several years now, from Invincible comic books and now into TV shows to Star Wars, from the movies into the TV shows, so on and so forth. Now it's Alan Wake's turn.
Yeah, while race swapping is a little bit different, they just tried to put the focus on someone who's not Alan Wake.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so this is the end of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not following me, follow me on Twitch. Our next podcast, I'm not sure if it's going to be. Our next podcast will be on December 30th. So we got one more for the year. That'll be podcast 88. I'm probably not going to be streaming tomorrow on Twitch, but I might stream sometime later this week. Don't know what game yet. Dr. Games 101, do you have any plans for like tomorrow?
Not tomorrow specifically. I do want to continue to try to do the Dirge Cerebus Final Fantasy 7 gameplay I want to do with you guys. Immortalize P as well. I got another week and a half left of games with gold, so I might as well take advantage of it and play more of those type of games with you guys. I know I keep saying I'm supposed to be playing more of Resident Evil 2 and other games over the last several months, but duty went calls when trying to make some money, so that has to prioritize for that first. Unless you want to donate to our podcast every 2 weeks, you can donate to patreon.thegames101 on patreon.com, or you can donate to Triple J's PayPal as well. Either or, it's because we basically just exchange each other's footnotes, stuff like that on on his podcast and all. So it's a pleasure to do business with you and to be part of this podcast as always, Triple J.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, I might be streaming this week. I really only stream now when I need to play games before I review them. I played Assassin's Creed Revelations. I think it was last Sunday actually.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, besides this podcast and if I need to play a game before, so I can review it, that's the only time I plan to stream. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Follow us if you did. And at the very least, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, good night, everyone.
Happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas. Bye.
And
Stop.